everybody. Welcome back to Yeah But Why. My name's Connor.
My name's Joe.
And this is Lewis.
Hi guys,
The
pleasure to be
main man.
here.
Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you. That's all right, mate. Honestly, I'm super excited about this. It's nice to be around you guys.
Yeah.
Obviously, we spent the last
3
3 days together training and
Yeah.
also
Two PBs.
two PBs,
Yeah,
two
definitely,
PBs.
yeah.
That's it. And also, we went out last night on the Tribe Social as well. It was nice to see you guys doing burpees on the dance floor.
Yeah. What was that? Why did you even tell me to do a burpee?
I wasn't telling you. I think I was telling Jamie. I think you just dropped to the
Yeah,
ground.
you
And did it. I was nothing but respect. Nothing but respect.
I think it was a drop slut and then it turned into a burpee.
Oh, slut dropping on Nathan.
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
burpees.
I kind of misjudged it and sort of stumbled into
Yeah,
it.
you're like, oh,
100%.
Nearly entered him.
No, but like it's an absolute pleasure to be here, boys. Obviously, the last couple of days spent with you guys. You both are awesome guys.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
anything I can do to help develop this and help you guys out. Super excited to see where you guys go with it. To be fair.
Same with us, man. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with your gym. Let's tell everybody. There's obviously people who might not know what you're about.
Sure.
Let's go,
From childhood.
Well, just tell us what you do first.
Okay. Yeah. So so I own a gym. Me and my partner own. So Maddie obviously isn't here today, who is my partner and my business partner as well. We own Tribe Fitness Center, which is a privately owned gym. We generally are somewhat of a gym, like a commercial gym mixed in with group PTs. We're more well known for the group PT side of things and helping people on more of a personal level. So really dialing in on all the people that join the gym and making sure they get the most out of their training to ensure they get the results they're looking for, basically. So for me and Maddie, our goal was to be more than just a gym and more of like a service to say look, we're not just going to leave you to your own devices. We're not going to sign you up and say goodbye. This is how you're going to get there. We're going to be there every step of the way. And when you get there, awesome. Let's maintain that, or let's see what's next. And it's been great. I love being a personal trainer. I love being a coach.
Yeah.
On top of the gym as well. So that's obviously started from like a really small unit and expanded into two larger units now with 130 members. I do coaching as well. So I've competed in men's physique, which is kind of a style of bodybuilding. I've done that and did well. So I got a first last year. Not trying to pat myself on the back, but got that last year and helped other people from the gym compete too, which then led to me wanting to go down the sort of coaching route and work with people elsewhere as well, not just people in our vicinity of Trowbridge. So do online coaching as well, which has led to getting 70 clients on board from all different backgrounds, from like powerlifting to bodybuilding, men's physique, endurance. I've taken guys off to like High Rocks, which is a CrossFit style competition. Those guys did amazing. Their age group, they came second, which is awesome. Getting people that they never thought they'd be able to go to a competition like that and be able to hold their own, and taking them in their 40s to be able, and late 30s, to go and do that and come second is nuts, and seeing the look on their faces was awesome. So doing the whole online coaching thing with diet, training plans, all that sort of stuff, and that's expanded. The gym's expanding, and obviously hopefully in the future we can go to a larger premises and just keep expanding really, and hopefully spread all across the UK. So like we said the other day, try and hopefully get a tribe in the major cities in the UK and then maybe abroad if any investors are looking or watching this podcast. These guys need investing, so do I. We can do big things. Just shout out.
I just want to say the energy within that gym, the culture, everybody there is to try, they're there to try and kill their PBs, try and reach their goals. Everybody is just pushing, and it's a tribe.
Yeah,
the name encompasses the gym,
I think me and Connor were talking about it the other day. I come home from work, I'm tired, I'm going to Pure Gym, and it's just no family. But when you get into that, when you step your foot in that door, you're just like, whoa.
Yeah, you get energized.
I'm just I want to be here. I want to be here. I want to train here. I want to talk to everyone. Everyone can talk to you.
That's great to hear. To be fair, that was part of the reason why me and Maddie literally started that place, because I worked at Castle Place Leisure Centre for probably 5 years, which is your bare bones basic commercial gym. You literally, when you were there before, you sit down with a sales executive, don't you? You sign that paperwork. You go in the gym, you get your induction with your little piece of paper with your routine on. and you then just are left to your own devices to then
Yeah.
try and get some progress. And when I worked there, when I joined, there wasn't a sense of community. And like, again, it sounds like I don't want this to come across arrogant, but when I joined there, because I'm passionate about exercise, I'd go in the gym and I'd like work out myself, and I'd like drag members along. I'd be like, hey, like, you know, Dan, what are you doing today? Like, I don't really know. Okay, cool. Do you want to jump in on my chest day? And then like all of a sudden, you know, you've got this group of people that are all in the gym. They all kind of either recreating the workouts that we've done prior, or they're training with me, and they've met other people that have trained with me. And all of a sudden you've got this community of like 20 people all in the gym, all like talking to each other that maybe never would have spoke to each other before. And me and Maddie were in there and we were just like, oh my God, man, you know, this is what it's all about really, isn't it? That's the whole, when you go to the gym, sure, you want to get a result out of it, but you also want to feel good. You want to train around people that you know are going to bring out the best in you and push you to get things that maybe you didn't think you could do on your own.
Yeah.
So that community aspect of feeling supported is such a big part of going to the gym, I think. And obviously it shows you guys have been to try.
Yeah.
That's what we kind of push. Try, like, no matter who you are, you can come in, join that community. You don't think you're going to lift 40 kilos on a deadlift? I bet you will in 30 minutes from now. Do you know what I mean? And they'll do it because you've got not just me, but like other members piping you on to do it. And people just don't know what they're capable of until you're in that environment.
Yeah.
It's weird. I reckon it's like 40% on top. Like you know, it's crazy the amount of strength you get. Like that 195 squat, right? Normally, if I pick up 195 200, I feel it on my back.
Yeah,
it didn't feel heavy, man.
Yeah, it looked good as well.
It did look.
It's so weird.
All the way down
really
to the bottom. Yeah.
Mate, I honestly think if you give it like 2 or 3 weeks to 1 rep max again.
Yeah.
200 to 205.
Yeah.
Yeah, just gotta make sure you do it in tribe so I can see it as well.
Mate, whenever I'm maxing out, I'm coming tribe.
Yeah, definitely.
Do it. 100%.
Do it. I'll bring the energy, mate. I have like 3 energy drinks before. Come on, con!
That's the thing though, like this is what makes all the difference with and we were talking about it the other night, weren't we?
Yeah.
It's how invested you are in your members. Like you were saying, you know all of your members' PBs, you know all their numbers, but when you're behind me, you're like, you give me the cues, and it's like, shit, I'm getting tight. I'm breathing in, and your energy transfers through to me, and it's like everybody's there watching.
Yeah,
that's what fucking makes it. It's when you're invested in your customers, basically.
Yeah,
you're not just there to take a paycheck.
No.
And it shows.
100%. It even comes down to like, you know, the guys that aren't focused on like weightlifting too. Like, you know, I've got some guys that want to do like high rocks. You know how fast they can do a 10-calorie sprint on an assault bike. Like, I know that, you know, let's say, for example, Han could do a 10-calorie assault bike in probably about 15, 16 seconds. Like, we're going to try and shave that down.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not always weights. It's like everything. But I think that's, like we said in the gym, that kind of is what differentiates those coaches that are in the right occupation, where they're passionate about it, versus the coaches that are just looking to kind of come in to earn a quick bit of money.
Yeah.
And, you know, let's be honest, like being a PT is not good for money. Like, it's very volatile. There's so many PTs around. If you're in it for cash, you're in the wrong industry, you know, period. But if you're passionate about it, you're, you know, like with anything, isn't it? Any occupation you're in, if you're passionate about anything, you're going to do pretty well. So, yeah, luckily, you know, me, Maddie and Jamie absolutely love training and love getting results from our members as well, which obviously you guys saw the other day, which was, you know.
Everybody wants to be there. Everybody wants to be there, man.
Yeah,
it's not like nobody's like dragging their ass in there. Like, everybody's pumped. They all want to be there.
I'm glad to hear you guys had a good time.
It's so good.
Yeah, so on the subject of passion, like, where did it all begin for you? Like just PTing, sports.
Okay, right. So day one, probably like when I was a kid, I was really skinny. So like I remember I went to the doctor's once, and the doctor thought I was like anorexic. Yeah, I wasn't anorexic. I was just had a super high metabolism. I was like 18, 19 years old, and I weighed about 8 stone. Like, literally, I was just stick and bone.
Really?
Man. You could put your fingers like this around the top of
my arm. And how tall were you back then?
6'1".
Oh,
yeah. Like,
but you weighed really, like one of my legs, man.
Yeah. All right, he's got massive quads, by the way. Like, he's a quick flex. So that was pretty nuts. And then, obviously, there was prior to me going to the doctors, there were times where, like, you know, I played rugby as a kid, and I wasn't great at rugby because you got to be big to obviously be good at rugby. You got to have something behind you. And I remember someone at a time said, right, okay, we're just going to practice tackling. And there was this guy who was like 5'4", and he weighed 60 kilograms or something. And the PE teacher partnered me with him and said, like, tackle him. And I ran him as hard as I could, and I just ricocheted off.
Really?
And I was like, man, like, I'm taller, and like the guy, to be fair, you know, he was a great guy, really lovely dude, but you know, I should have been able to tackle him. He could tackle me, I just couldn't tackle him. And I was just like, right, okay, that's not good. So I started going to the gym. Then I watched, I think it was Blade 2. And I remember going home, and I kind of went to the gym. I was like, I want to build some muscle. And then, like, around that time, like, the stars aligned. I watched Blade 2, and Ryan Reynolds was in it, yeah? And there was a scene where he's, like, chained up like this. And I remember I was with my girlfriend at the time, and he was like, chained up like this. And obviously he's got, like, baby oiled up and all that. Yeah. He's ripped, okay? Good, and my missus at the time went, oh, man, Ryan Reynolds is just a dream, isn't it? And I was like, that's what I'm going to do. And I remember, like, that same day, I was like, right, I went to this gym, which was like a bare bones, like clanging and banging little gym. And I still remember the gym owner was Alan. He was like this mid-50s guy. And I still remember one of the members on the day I signed up said, don't get on the wrong side of Alan. He's not allowed back in Germany. And then never told me why. And I was like, that's a really weird and open-ended statement to make. Like, I feel like I really want to know, but I'm not going to ask Alex.
Yeah.
So
there's
I went
many variables. It could have been a descendant of Hitler. Like,
yeah, no, I don't think it was that one. I think it was that one.
Sorry.
But yeah, it could have been many other variables.
It could have been many, but I only got one.
So I remember going in and I printed off. I asked my dad to print off a picture of Ryan Reynolds in that scene, and I went in and I said to Alan, Alan, I'm going to pay for a PD session. I want you to make me look like this in 2 weeks. and Alan was there, like, looked me up and down and said, you probably will never look like that. And I was like, man, harsh. But he gave me a PT, and I remember in my head, I think this is what started it, was like, I'm just gonna prove you wrong.
Fuck Alan.
And like, he was, dude, honestly, yeah, fuck Alan. Yeah? I need that on a t-shirt. But to be fair, we're
fuck Alan.
Fuck Alan. And, like, genuinely, like, the thing was though, is that, like, with him, like, he's sadly, he's no longer with us now. Like, he passed away probably a few years ago. But he was a massive turning point in my life where he showed me how to, like, bench press. He pretty much, I say he showed me how to bench press. He loaded me up with a barbell, and I was so weak at the time, the bar just came down on me and he just sit off me. I then realized I needed the 3 kilo dumbbells. Without him, I wouldn't have started all of that.
So you were really, like, that's a big change, man.
Yeah. If any of the guys that are listening to this grew up with me, they'll tell you how skinny I was, bro. Like, I couldn't even lift anything. My girlfriend, when I was probably about 18, would literally pick me up and would carry me around. Like, dude, I was real skinny. Yeah.
That's good for a lot of people to hear, though, because like, they look at you now and you're like this big guy, and you think, shit, he must have always been like that.
Yeah,
but obviously not.
But it's a lot of consistency, like a lot. So I'm 29 now, so it's like 10 years along. So, you know, it's a long time to be weightlifting and dying for, you know. But I was just like, well, I'm just going to ingrain this into who I am, and I will get there eventually. And then over time, that led to me finding a passion for training. Yeah. Got bigger, saw results gradually over time. Started going out a little bit more, and we all know that first time you go out in a t-shirt and someone goes, "Oh, you've been hitting the gym."
Yeah.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
You know what? Yes. The funny thing is, it's not the girls, it's the boys.
Yeah, it's always the guys.
It's always the guys. You're like, what?
Yeah,
when your t-shirt starts hugging your arms, you're like, ooh.
That's when the girls come up to you and go, I actually prefer skinny.
Yeah, you're like, what?
I like skinny guys with tattoos.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, so genuinely, that's what started it, man. And then obviously, like, over time, like that's obviously changed now. Obviously, you know, now it's more about, like, helping people and stuff like that. I get a massive buzz out of getting someone to where they want to be. Like, hearing, like, a lady, like, I love doing contest prep clients. Like, don't get me wrong, the competitive side of things definitely is really good. But hearing, like, a lady who comes to me and, like, confides in me and says, like, look, listen, I actually haven't seen myself without clothes on in I avoid mirrors because I don't like my body. And me and my partner, like every time we go to the beach or something, I'll just cover up because I'm so not confident in the way that I look. And I'm like, cool, we'll change that then. This is step by step how we're gonna get there, and we're gonna change that. And then seeing someone get to that point and just seeing a photo of like them on the beach with their partner in a bikini or something, and you're like, that's not just changed just the physique, is it? It's also she's probably better to be around. She's more confident. She's got kids. She can now get in the pool with her kids without having to worry about what people are thinking because she's just confident in her body. And like it's the knock-on effect of being at that point, which is why I do what I do, which is...
Mate, you're actually changing people's lives. Like, it's not... we were talking about it as well, and there's value in everything for businesses. Like, you're not just selling a product. Like, you are actually impacting people's lives, which is... That's the fuel that's going to keep you going, you know? If you can keep hold of that, you're going to be... you're going to be fine. You're flying. You actually will.
Yeah.
I can tell you're buzzing. I can just see it.
Mate, honestly. when you talk about it, you just think about like the people that you work with and you're like, yeah, I remember that time and that time. And there was like a girl once that I worked with who was like, she was, and she'd openly say herself, she was obese. She was big when she came in and she couldn't even walk up the stairs on her own. And I remember we lost 90 kilograms, bro.
Really?
Yeah, 90 kilos.
Wow.
This girl called...
that's a whole Connor.
What?
Yeah.
That's a whole Connor.
Yeah, so
what time
90
frame?
kilos. Over the course of like a year.
Man,
It was pretty aggressive to a degree, but she needed to for what she had her goals were anyway.
I suppose not even that, just health reasons as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Bro, her goals were just to run around the park with the kids.
Really?
That was literally it. That was the like at home moment where I was like the hit home moment, sorry, where I was like this is like bigger than just getting someone shredded now, was when she said like, I physically have a child who I can't play with and it upsets me every day to the point where I cry. And all I want to do is lose this weight, because we didn't know it was 90 kilograms. We just were going to go until she felt comfortable. Need to lift this weight to not only be able to play with my kids and have a great time with them, but also so I can hopefully live long enough to see her get married and be able to have a long life. And then when we got that, like, you know, the message that I got from her and all that sort of stuff was just like nuts, like crazy, like genuinely one of the times like where I was like really close. I don't cry, but I was close to crying.
Yeah.
I don't cry, right? It's hay fever. It's hay fever. No.
I'm a nightmare for crying, man. Like any film, I'm always tearing up. My girlfriend's like, "You're a bitch." What's wrong with you, bitch?
Oh, mate, there's nothing bad about crying at The Notebook. It's fine.
Mate,
it's a great film.
Marley and Me.
Oh, why is it so bad when there's a dog involved?
Yeah, it's the worst.
It's the worst, isn't it,
Yeah,
man?
it actually is.
Oh, God.
So this girl that you helped out, is she doing well? She's still...
Fine, man. Yeah, last time I spoke to her, she was all good. We obviously only worked together for a year. Saw her out and about. She came to Tribe a couple of times, just say hi and stuff, but she's all good now.
Good.
Yeah, just fine.
So since we're talking about PTing people, what's the hardest? Like when someone comes in, they don't know what they're doing. Like how do you set them up to get their goal and set the nutrition plan? Like what's your protocol? So if I was a beginner, came to you, I want to get jacked. What's your protocol for that? Like putting weight on, bulking up.
Yeah. So generally, what I would do first, have a phone call with that person, figure out, like you said, if you want to get jacked, like what you wanted to achieve in the time frame that you want to achieve it in. So I say, like, look, if you've got a goal, you will tell me you want to be jacked. You say you want it by this amount of time. Then it's my responsibility to tell you whether that's going to happen or not. Once we establish that, then it comes down to, right, okay, if you're doing coaching with us, for example, I'd get you to fill out a questionnaire. I'd get you to send me your sort of the questionnaire, be your age, height, weight, what foods you like, what foods you don't like, pretty much your work schedule, how many meals a day you want to be eating, all that sort of stuff. Then I'll get you to send me your measurements. Then I get you to send me some progress photos if you're comfortable with doing that, like most of my clients are. But I kind of say, like, look, if you're not comfortable with being in just boxers, wear sport shorts. If you're not comfortable with being just in sport shorts, wear gym gear. Just take some photos so I can see your frame. And then it comes down to then building a training plan and a nutrition plan that's suited to you, you know? And obviously that's got to work around your work schedule. It's got to work with the foods that you enjoy as well, because you want to make sure that it's sustainable. because a lot of people, like the old school bodybuilders, were like chicken and rice, man. You know,
Yeah.
like cod and fish and a rice
Fish
cake.
and a rice
sort of
cake
thing.
guy.
Fish
Like,
and a
he's
rice
jacked
cake.
now.
He's so
Like,
Yeah,
you've
I've
seen
seen.
him.
There's some merit in the fish and the rice cake thing now, isn't there? Like, everybody laughed at it back then. Now he's
look at
jacked.
him.
Now look at him.
Yeah.
He's like, I've had all the rice cakes. But yeah, so I think then what I would do is I'd build that, then I'd sit down with the individual, I'd go through their nutritional plan, the training plan, what I want them to be, doing. Is it cut
No,
off?
it's all good. It's all good.
Okay,
Yeah, it's all good.
no worries. The nutritional plan, the training plan, what I expected in terms of like weekly check-ins. So that's another thing as well. I get all my clients to check in every week on a Saturday or a Wednesday. I have 2 different days because I've got so many now I can't do it all in a day. And then they have to, again, redo their progress photos, redo their measurements and send them across and give me a little sort of roundup of their week.
Yeah. So in terms of nutrition, how do you go about it? Because I tend, when I cut, I eat anything I want. I just weigh it. As long as it fits in my calories. Yeah. If it fits your macros, that's how I do it.
Okay.
But how do you do your thing?
So do you macro track as well then?
I do, but not at the moment because I just don't care anymore. Like 8 years, I can do it in my head.
Okay.
Like I'm like 7 years into it, 8 years, so I can kind of see what I'm eating.
Yeah.
But when I'm cutting, I'll have foods that I like, but also I have foods that I need to eat. Are you more flexible? Do you tell them you got to eat this, you got to eat this at this time, you got to be?
So I think how
Hey, what's your thoughts on if it fits your macros?
I advocate it. I also think like the old school bodybuilding diets are pretty good as well. Like I think like everybody's different, man. But literally with the amount of people that I work with, you've got to find what works for them.
Okay.
If it fits your macros, works for you, that's fine. We can work with that. If it doesn't work with, say, for example, like let's say Connor's like, look, listen, I don't give a fuck about my calories. I don't want to know about my macros. I just want meal 1, meal 2, meal 3, meal 4. I want you to cover all my micronutrients. I like the bodybuilding meals. I like the chicken and rice stuff. Like I love that. That's my vibe. Easy then. Well, I'll just do all your macro counting, your calorie tracking and stuff like that. I'll cover all your micronutrients. I'll give you meal 1 through 5 and you're going to eat that every 2 to 3 hours. Because again, I do think there is a lot of studies that have been done to show that eating multiple times a day is beneficial because you can only really go through or absorb as much protein, a certain amount of protein for your body at one time. So like, the whole if it fits your macros thing is great. But then you've got like all these people that are like not looking at their micronutrients and also they'll just like have like oats for breakfast and then they'll go, oh crap, I've got like 200 grams of protein to fit in. Yeah. And for dinner, they're having like 240 grams of protein. You're like, I don't think your stomach can really process that much. Like you've got to try and space it out. Well, it's not, I don't think your stomach physically can't, process that much. Yeah. And when you talk to those people as well, like I've spoke to a few people that do if it fits your macros and literally diet like that. I'm like, cool, how's your digestion? Well, it's always been pretty bad. I can tell you why it's been pretty bad. Because you're having 240 grams of protein in meal 2 of your day at 7 p.m. And I think, if it fits your macros works, bodybuilding style diets work.
What's your thought on like building muscle and fasting?
Fasting's a good.
Yeah, I've done that. I've done that for like a whole year. It's hard. I think if you're someone if you're like me and I was looking to maintain or grow maybe, let's say like a pound or 2 of muscle every 6 months or something, I could do it 100%. And I think there's a little bit of evidence that shows that maybe fasting releases a little bit more growth hormone from the pituitary gland.
I heard it's like 2,000%, but I don't think that's true.
I think it's very minuscule.
Yeah.
When people like jump, they see like a study on examine.com and then they jump on it, don't they? And then they go like, and then you don't really read into it. I don't think it's an increase that's going to make a massive impact on your overall look and your overall health. Yeah. I could be wrong though, and obviously if anybody's listening that has seen that study, but from what I know, I don't think it's a massive impact. But like I said, if you're someone that's genuinely looking to get jacked, it's probably not for you because I'd rather you have, meal times, get about 4 to 5 meals in a day to get your protein requirements and your carbohydrate requirements and your fats. Make sure you space them out so you can use everything you're consuming. Make sure your micronutrients are on point. And then, you know, again, if you're someone like me and I'm like, right, I'm not bothered about putting on loads of muscle, I just want to maintain and I want ease because I just want to work all the time, all day, and probably the evening is the only time I get to eat, then yeah, sure, I'm sure you can maintain or maybe even build a small amount of muscle from doing that.
Did you know about how breakfast came about? Like breakfast. Do you know how it came about?
How?
There was a doctor. Basically, the meat industry figured out that they weren't consuming enough meat. They weren't making enough money. And the doctor basically come up with this thing, which was called break fast, which is our breakfast now. Okay, and that included like sausages, bacon, like eggs and stuff like that. And that was how this breakfast thing came around. Before then, we didn't eat breakfast.
No.
To be fair, mind blown.
It's,
oh my god, man. I never even thought of it like that.
Yeah, it's so it's money, man.
It is true though, because like back like caveman years, we had to hunt in the mornings. You don't eat breakfast.
Sure.
Might have eaten
that was the biggest sales point, wasn't it, for intermittent fasters? Was like, well, listen, when we were cavemen, we didn't have breakfast, and I'm there like, but we are not cavemen anymore. But that was a long time ago.
Cavemen probably aren't optimized to build muscle, so it's it's one of those, isn't it? It's kind of like your goals.
That's my biggest pet peeve with like the whole you know, trying to find reasons to advocate your side of the story. Like I do think that you somehow like, yeah, cool, like cavemen used to do it this way, but also they had way shorter lifespans.
Yeah.
So like you can't say like, well, they were better because they probably wouldn't see their 20s.
Yeah.
So like we now live to.
I don't know if that's health though, man. I reckon that's because there's a tiger killing them or something.
Yeah, that's
and the amount of babies that died. You know, I don't know.
If they had breakfast, they would have fought the tiger off, and they would have been fine.
If
That's
they had 70 pound of extra muscle, man, they'd be.
Just the tiger comes on and goes, man, that guy's jacked. I'm not doing this today.
He's had his macros.
Turns around.
Definitely.
Ask him for his diet plan, man.
Yeah, that's it. Kills a mammoth and then starts weighing out every little bit. Make sure macros in.
Yeah. So obviously you compete, right? What's the hardest about competing?
Do
you get hangry? Do you argue more?
I think if you were to ask my partner, if you were to ask Maddie, I'm actually very good in prep, man. Like I'm really good in prep. Yeah, I'm like weirdly way more lovey. It's so weird.
I guess it's probably because you're more emotional.
Maybe. I don't know, man. Like I just get like really like lovey-dovey, man. If you go back to like when I competed, like, I'd like put a post up about Maddie being there, like I couldn't do it without this girl. She's like the most wonderful thing in the world. And so Maddie is like, yeah, I love prep. But yeah, I think the hardest, if you want my honest opinion, I think the hardest part of it is about 5 or 6 weeks out. And I'm going through this with a couple of my clients at the moment, actually. 5 or 6 weeks out, you're pretty close, but you're also not super close. Yeah, you've been dieting you started at 16 weeks. You know, you've been dieting for effectively, you know, what's that, like 10, 11 weeks. You're pretty tired of dieting now. Yeah. You know, you're on low calories. Things are harder in the gym. You know, the gym becomes tough because especially when you're going through prep, you're not looking for PBs, you're looking to maintain muscle. Yeah, you've had your off season.
Hard.
And it's so hard because you've got to understand that the weights you were lifting in your off season are probably not going to be lifted now. And if they are, that's a great day. Do you know what I mean? Like you're not going to be getting PBs. The odd occasion maybe, but you know, very, very few and far between. And even if some of my clients do get PBs, I'm like, look, dial it back because we now are so lean. There's not enough padding around the joints.
Yeah,
lifting that level of weight. You know, you need to chill out a little bit, go for more hypertrophy. So I think 5 to 6 weeks out, you've been dieting long enough, you're tired of dieting, the show's not right around the corner, but it kind of is. And that's probably where a lot of people sort of hit this brick wall. You know, like they say marathon runners hit a brick wall and they kind of feel like they can't run anymore.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like that about 5 or 6 weeks out.
So what do you get? Like doubt in your mind?
Yeah, you're hungry at this point. So you're hungry for anything other than what's on your plan. And your body's, your taste buds change. Has anybody ever told you that?
No.
So your taste buds change when you go through prep. And
I tend to
change
like,
what?
The longer I'm like...
You suddenly like start to like foods you don't like.
Really?
And the foods taste different. Yeah, man.
I didn't.
Yeah. So like, let's say for example, Kim, who I've prepped, Kim hated avocado. Yeah, like she passionately hated it. like 3 weeks out. Loved it. Thought it was the best food in the world. Yeah. Hated peanut butter. Loves peanut butter.
And it's a thing that stays.
Yeah, so she now likes it. Yeah, absolutely. It's weird. If you ask any like contest prep, individual, they'll tell you that foods taste different.
Is that the same with girls?
What does that mean?
If I didn't like that girl, am I gonna like her now?
Sorry, we're talking about taste buds.
I'm just saying.
That can be made.
Or if I didn't like Connor then, and I like him now, when I'm
I think there's a barrier. I think you know what I'm talking about.
5 or 6 weeks out.
I've just
I like men now.
My brain did not go into sexual preference at all whatsoever.
Yeah. Have you had sex recently? You all right?
I haven't passed that yet, mate. With my girlfriend.
Guys,
Not just yet.
You're in the honeymoon phase. I'm pretty sure if it's new, you should be loving it.
It's that ball and chain, isn't it?
Yeah.
You have to leave the gym early.
What's your protocol with your clients then? 6 weeks out, like how calories wise? Like 6 weeks out, how low are they?
Everyone's different, bro.
Mhm.
Like everyone's different. You've got some people that like have to really delve deep into those like lower calories. So like Sophie, for example, who I prepped last year, she had to go down to I think lowest like 800, which is really low. Again, you're not like, this is the thing as well. Like you're not there for a long time, and those calories have started at about 2,000, so they titrate down based on results. And, ultimately my thing is the look achieved. Like, have we achieved the look that we need for the stage with the current calories that we're currently on, and I've got a client called Chris at the moment, and Chris is on roughly about 2.1, 2.2. And you guys might have seen him on my Instagram. He's vascular and pretty much good to go.
Yeah.
I even brought him down on cardiovascular work. He's 5 weeks out, and I was like, right, we're going to start removing cardio now. And he was like, is that the right thing to be doing? I'm like, dude, if we keep going, all we're doing is eating into muscle mass. Like, we've got a little bit of body fat left on the back that will come off through weight training and dieting alone. And I don't think we need to even touch your calories from here. We're just going to keep them here so we can at least try and just slowly bring that body fat off without losing muscle mass. So sometimes less isn't always the right option. You just want to go with the individual, and that's where the good coaches come out, is when you kind of go, look, it's not as simple as like, let's just get everybody down to 800 calories and let's just watch the fat come off,
because everyone's different.
Everybody's different.
It's crazy, man. You got to have such a fine eye for detail, like seeing people's bodies. Do you have to like every week get their top off, look at them?
Literally
get down to that.
100%. Yeah, definitely. Like you have to be like fully like the progress photos that I like. So Chris sends me four neutral shots on a Wednesday morning. 4 neutral shots, one from the front, one from the side, one from the back, one from the opposite side. Then he'll send me all of his poses for bodybuilding. Then he'll also send over a video of his posing routine as well. So by the end of me looking for all of his photos, I've seen his body in like every different angle. I've seen about like 12 different photos plus a video. So I can like really analyze to make sure that he's on point. And then even then he'll still come to the gym, and then we'll go through posing together. Okay. And I'll make sure that like when he's in the gym under our lighting in there, because obviously the stage is very flattering lighting as well. He looks good.
Yeah.
So you just got to be like really hands-on. Hands-on.
What are the biggest differences between like prepping someone to go to competition and prepping, say, that lady who comes in who wants to just play with her kids? Do you know what I mean? Is there a huge difference?
No, man. Like, I think this is the thing, isn't it? I think a lot of people kind of associate prep as like you just do what you do on prep in prep, right? Like the same principles apply with most lifestyle clients as well. Like, look, listen, here's our calories. Let's reduce those calories to a point where we can reduce body fat. But my thing with lifestyle clients is we never get down to that 700, 800 calorie mark. It's not, we don't need to be that extremely lean, and we don't have really a really short time frame. Because if, again, you're a good coach, you said like, look, if you want to get to this point, let's do it over a longer period of time so the change doesn't have to be as drastic. If you're doing a prep, generally you're given 12 or 16 weeks.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, 100%.
So there's not really any one day. They've got to get down to a look. And, you can do that then a little bit more comfortably over time. Try and, get as much weight off as possible whilst keeping calories moderate. So, again, females are really important about keeping their hormones pretty neutral too. You don't want to get to a point where you're dieting them so hard that their estrogen crashes and everything starts to go a bit haywire.
So during this process, are you doing blood work with these guys? Are you looking at...
So I always advocate blood work anyway. So, especially if you're a prep client, blood work, if you can, pre, during, post, and then probably about a month after.
And you actually get your eyes on it physically, do you?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Okay. So we've just partnered with a company called Fourth Edge, which are a blood testing company. When you get your blood test back, you can literally put a little email down the bottom where you say, I give access to my coach Lewis to view my blood test results. You put in my email, and then Fourth Edge will also send me their blood results as well.
Wow.
So it's really, really good. They're a really good company to work with.
So you can see stuff on that blood because of your experience. You can see stuff that you need. You're right. That's like too high. That's too low, and you can tweak it with food or exercise.
Yeah. So it depends on what hormonal markers kind of out, if that makes sense. If when you go through like prep as well, like creatinine's going to be super high. Obviously, you've been training so much, you've been dieting really, really hard. Your hormones are probably going to be somewhat out of whack as well because, again, for ladies especially, a lot of their periods do stop during prep. I try and not do that as best as I possibly can, but when you're that lean, your body goes into this kind of fight or flight mechanism where it's like, right, shit, we're definitely not healthy here.
Yeah. It's like preserving like life.
It's like you're not literally healthy enough to bear a child right now. So what's the point? Do you know what I mean? So we're just going to literally stop that whole process from happening. We're going to stop the periods from happening. And we're going to wait till we're in a healthier state to start the ovulation process back on.
Touches on quite a nice point actually, because like these physiques that are going to stage are not healthy.
No. And I think, it's definitely a look. But the thing is though, man, is that not the same about every sport? Was it not the same about every sport?
Yeah, I mean, marathon runners, they're fit in one avenue, but they're not actually fit in another.
Every extreme has got a huge pro, but then a load of cons, doesn't it?
Have you ever seen the Netflix program called Icarus?
I have seen that.
Have you seen it?
Have I seen it? No.
About cyclists.
Yes, I have.
Cycling. And he was talking about like some of these athletes become so fit that their resting heart rate gets so low that they end up going into like cardiac arrest.
Yeah. Like Lance Armstrong's was like 30 per minute. Like.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Like when you're at that level of competing, it's generally not healthy. Yeah, like it's not. And like I'm definitely not advocating the guys staying like that year round. Like when I coach someone into a prep, like my prep finishes 4 to 8 weeks after they finish their show.
Yeah.
Because my job is to make sure they come out the other side, rebuild a healthy relationship back with their body at a normal body fat percentage. Reestablish food is important, and actually not eating. Because they want to maintain that look for as long as possible. Because they're like, oh, I like the way they look. No. You look good on stage under downlighting. Now you're walking around on a day-to-day basis. You cannot maintain this look for health.
Yeah.
So we need to get you at that. And then we need to make sure that you mentally are okay to then leave this coaching process. And I'm comfortable with saying like, cool, you're back to where you were when you joined me. If somewhat leaner and holding on to more muscle tissue, but not stupidly lean, healthy.
So your coaching process has almost got like an aftercare with it as well.
Yeah, man.
Is that something everybody provides, or is that more something you've focused on?
I think there are really good coaches out there that do that. I can list off quite a few good coaches that I know of. There are some that don't. I think it's more of like a recent thing, the last like few years, where coaching has kind of been brought up a notch, where there's a lot more coaches now offering. Well, I'd say a lot more. There is a side of coaches or coaches from that coaching environment that are providing that a little bit more. It's nice to see, Okay. So yeah.
So I can imagine you can get, as a contestant, not a contestant or whatever, but somebody who's been through that process mentally. So like you put in all that work, maybe you weren't in very good shape before, like you've gone through all that work, then at the other side, somebody's saying to you, like, you got to get fat again, or not fat, but that's what it sounds like in your head, That mental process is like, shit, I've gone through all that.
It's really hard, man. And from someone that's competed myself before, it's a real tough battle to get over that in your head. But it's when you need to reestablish what the normal lean is. Like, the stage lean is not normal lean.
No, it's not.
And if you actually would have taken people on stage and put them in any other environment with no tan, they actually look quite ill. Because you're so like drawn in and you just don't look good. When you get back to building that healthy relationship back with your body, and you can stay somewhat lean after prep, you know, so you might even stay leaner than when you came in. You will definitely stay leaner than when you came into prep. You'll probably end up liking your body a lot more holding on to a bit of body fat, being honest. Okay. You know, like my relationship with my body got way better outside of prep after that 8 weeks had passed. You know, I was like, actually, I don't mind holding on to a little bit more body fat, because actually I'm holding on to a little bit more body fat, like on my arms or, you know, for ladies on their legs, on their glutes. Like Kim, for example, her glutes are the biggest they've ever been. You know, if you said to some lady and said like, look, you're not going to get fat, but I'm going to get you bigger glutes. They go, yeah, fucking do right. You know, you just got to like learn how to phrase it and then kind of explain to them what's going to happen. And you're not going to get fat. We're just going to go back to being healthy. And we're also going to go back to a position where we can build on things and work on things. And, you know, that's it really. Yeah.
So what's the hardest part of being a PT?
Mate. It's like, I don't know, man. This is a really tough one because I really enjoy it. I think the hardest part about being a PT is keeping your mouth shut when you see other PTs not providing great services. Right. Okay. So, like, there are some people that I know in the past that have, you know, just been in it for the money, you know, and you don't want to be that PT that goes around attacking other PTs. In fact, I love bringing other PTs up. If you're passionate about being a personal trainer, dude, I will 100% back you. I think you're I think you're a great guy or girl, and I will, like, you know, rep you, and I think what you're doing is amazing. But, you know, sometimes you do have some PTs that are out there that are delivering misinformation or taking someone's money and not providing the right exercises or nutritional plan for them. And they're just doing it to tick the boxes and get the cash, and that is annoying. And again, you know, from me, I don't want to be that guy that goes like, "Oh, you're shit," because then it builds that negative look on us as a brand. So you just got to hope that hopefully that client then figures that out. And they'll come over, or not even to me, but to another coach, and that coach or PT will look after them properly. You know?
So leading on from that, what's like the worst advice you've heard? Like, you don't have to name any names. Like, what's the worst? There's a lot of cliche things out there on the internet, isn't there? Where you hear and you kind of think, is that right? What that guy's saying? What's from somebody who knows what they're saying, what they're on about? What is the worst,
man? Mate, there's actually, you know what? They're so hard to nail down in one thing. Don't weightlift for joint pain. That is my biggest.
Oh, I've heard that. Yeah.
Like, when I hear someone go like, "Oh yeah, no, I've got like really bad knee pain," they're like in their 40s, whatever. Yeah, I'm never gonna weightlift again. That's not for me. Like, I shouldn't weightlift. You know, they're like, no, that's weightlifting is what you should be doing. You know, if you think that like right now you have no muscle supporting your knees, okay. The muscles there to support your knees and take pressure away from your knees to allow you to stand up and sit down all the time throughout a day-to-day basis and walk around. Training those muscles to bear more weight will assist your knees. You just have to find the right exercise selection for you to avoid knee pain whilst you train them. Do you know what I mean? And that's the like my biggest pet peeve. It's an old school way of thinking. I think most people like our age understand that weightlifting is very, very good for you. But I think, you know, the old school style of like weightlifting is terribly bad. Like, you're going to like ruin your joints and you're going to like be in a wheelchair by the time you're 30.
I've got a personal story of that because I went to the doctors when I was sort of 15, 16. I slipped a disc in my back, like L4, L5, whatever. It was only partial. It was partial. I couldn't lift the bar off the floor, man. But that wasn't even lifting. That was playing rugby. I went in for a tackle wrong and it happened. Went to the doctors. He said, "Look, you're not going to be able to lift weights." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Yeah, you're just not going to be able to lift weights." And I was like, "Well, that's not really an option.
Yeah.
Right, so that happened. I thought, well, fuck him. So I went back to my mate, Jordan Mockett, who does Olympic weightlifting strong, and I was like, mate, doctor said I can't lift weights. He's like, what are you on about? And I was like, I slipped the disc on my back. And he's like, mate, just get a stronger back. And I was like, that makes sense. So we just did like hyperextensions, and within a couple months, 3 months, I was like stronger than ever, you know.
Mate,
I still get a bit of an issue every now and then, but I know when I get it, I'm like, right, do some work on your back, strengthen your back up, good, like, and that's all you need to do.
Yeah. So since we're on a topic about worse advice, what do you think the problem is with the fitness industry?
Oh God, these are really tough questions, man. The problem is with the fitness industry. I think the fitness industry is
even in competition, like even in politics. What do you?
Oh shit! I feel like you have something. like specifically this. Yeah. Like go on, that's it. Oh mate, you know what? I do think. On the side of politics and stuff, I do think that, like, obviously when you go competing, sure, I think there could be an element of politics involved. Mm-hmm. But I think it's a lot less nowadays because of social media. I do think you get called out a lot more. So I think that, like, a lot of the federations and stuff do get called out. If it looks like, you know, it's so clear night and day that there's like a first place and a second place. And if they were to take the second place and go like, oh, put him first because he's got more of a social media following, I think they would get absolutely destroyed now. So I don't think it's as bad. And as the fitness industry in general, I think we're in a very good time right now where actually there's a lot of information online where I think people can find a lot of things to back what they're being told. When we were young, it was Google on it and like the forums.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Bodybuilding.com.
Yeah. How do you grow your biceps? Do bicep curls. Nice. Like, you're like, okay. And you just like, you know, you're finding every way to do a bicep curl in the gym for an hour.
Hey, do you know who owns bodybuilding.com?
Who?
Yeah. He's the guy in his look at my new Lamborghini, and he's got the books in the background.
No.
Yeah.
Oh no. Tay Lopez.
Yeah, Tay Lopez, yeah.
Oh, no.
I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, that's.
Do you know what's better than biceps? Knowledge. That's a lie, Ty. That's a lie.
Tell those computer nerds who got no pussy. Those coders at Facebook, man. Tell those bitches.
Oh my God. My guy. Oh no. Yeah, no, I think we're in a very good space. I think that, like, obviously, you know, you've got people like even Joe Rogan is a really good example.
Right, Joe Rogan's a beast. He's just
really good example. He brings on a lot of, like, have you ever heard of a guy called Andrew Huberman?
Yes.
Like Andrew Huberman.
He's a psychologist, right?
He was a sports scientist. I think he was a neuroscientist as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, the guy is like just a encyclopedia of knowledge when it comes to supplementation, training styles, hypertrophy. He's got hour-long interviews with so many different people where you can just listen to him for a whole week and you probably know a lot about how to train for your goal.
Yeah.
And I think that's amazing because if we got advice from a personal trainer when we were younger in a gym, there was nowhere really you could find to back that up. You just had to trust in them.
Yeah.
Now, if I said to you, I want you to do this, you could go and YouTube it, Google it,
cross-reference it, and
then know that that's the right thing for you, which is really cool. I think we're in a very good spot for like fitness.
I think as well, like there's with social media, there's so many bad things from it because it's like it's a contrast, or what's that cliche word that everybody uses? I can't remember what it is. But yeah, you've got one side of the fitness industry where everybody's looking at themselves and they're focusing on like, shit, I'm not looking good enough, or I'm not this, I'm not that. But then also we walked through Bath the other night. Everybody looks as if they're training. Girls walking past, like 5-6 years ago, you'd be skinny girls. You know, there's girls that have quads on them. Blokes that have got biceps on. Everybody is getting fit, and you think that's good, right?
It's amazing.
It's
amazing. It's nice to see, and I think it's nice to see as well from like the women's standpoint that the goal body shape has changed now.
Yeah.
Like you remember when it was like the catwalk
model
days?
That was
ridiculous.
Just endorsing these women to eat like, you know, I read one article once that these women were eating like pillows, like actual like the foam and feathers from in pillows to just try and keep themselves fuller for longer. It's ridiculous, and it's nice to see now that like the body image for women is more health,
Yeah.
strength as well. Like, it's empowering, isn't it, to see
being strong.
women squat 100
Yeah.
kilos. And
Yeah.
they're like, damn, like she can handle herself.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and I think it's nice for that to be at the forefront now.
And then again, you've got the next extreme to that. You've got plus size models and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that at all. I think it's wrong.
No.
I don't think you should be sort of
Advocating
glorifying
to-
people that
I
are
don't
unhealthy.
get that.
Like you should be thinking about people who are in good shape, but you don't even have to be like shredded. You don't have to be cut. You don't have to be big. You just have to be healthy. Why are you putting somebody who's super fat, like, and glorifying that to people who are basically sat at home on their ass on their phone, saying, "Well, if she's getting paid to do that, then I'm cool doing that." You know?
Mm.
No,
No.
it's wrong.
There's a difference between being like unhealthily fat
Yeah,
and trying to make it sound better for yourself, and being fit but holding on to a bit of body fat. Like, I think being fit and holding on to a bit of body fat is a very, very good look for people to have.
yeah,
I don't think it's a bad look.
No.
And I think, you know, there are people out there that are incredibly fit, very strong individuals that are not shredded. And in fact, sure, like maybe like if it's a woman, for example, holding a bit of body fat on their legs and their bum, is it a bad thing? Fuck no, man. It looks incredible.
It's
It looks great.
Yeah,
It
it's
looks-
what we want.
Yeah, it's 100%. But I think it's great. It's way less maintenance to be that level as well. You just have to go to the gym, have a somewhat healthy diet, still enjoy your life.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, that's a really, really good position to be in, because it doesn't always have to be as extreme as like get shredded, like you said.
Yeah.
And, you know, you don't always have to get that lean. But I think, there's a difference between holding on to a healthy level of body fat and being obese.
And what I said about being obese, it wasn't me like slating people who are fat, because I get stuff happens and you let yourself get away. That's cool. But like, it's when it's being glorified. Like you see the
man.
women and the blokes who are in the gym all right running and like give or take, if you think that's the right thing to do, they're out trying. And I think that's super wicked. Like
amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing to
to
see.
see. Like when someone comes in, they are let themselves, like you said, get too far, but they've made the decision to change. Mate, the one thing I absolutely hate is the guys that see people that are overweight running and they decide to laugh at them.
Yeah.
Because you're like, hang on a minute, they're doing what they can to change what their body, and they're trying to become healthier. You should cheer them on, like get them do it, get them like pipe them up.
You gotta be slightly mentally like ill to be doing stuff like that. You know?
And I think it's really hard, especially like getting to like that level of having that much body fat on you. Like we hopefully will never experience that, but having that additional weight on you, 100 pounds, for example, of additional weight, like imagine what it'd be like to exercise holding on to that weight and then having to like know that you have to reduce your body weight by like half.
Bro, we get jacked.
No, that's
I know,
hard, man.
100%. And also,
really
it's
hard to
like it's fucking the mental side of things as well. They've got to change their whole life, because it's like that lifestyle's got them to it. It's not just like getting fit; it's their environment as well, like their partner, their kids. You know, it's fucking tough, man. And I know because I'm fat. So
you are 100 guys. He is not fat.
We're gonna get Connor shredded.
Yeah.
In the summer.
Are you?
Do you have any tips as a coach?
I'm not getting like down to a.
Do you have any tips as a coach?
Trend.
Trend.
Alright, I'll write that down.
No,
how many of those trends do I need?
I think, mate, I think you being lean would look insane. It's got huge quads.
Yeah, he does.
You got huge.
That's what I was telling him. Feathers are just gonna come out.
I don't want to get to that. Like when we're talking about the stage weight, I don't think it's good. I don't like the look. That's not personal in any way. I just don't think the shredded look is. It's not for me. I like the blockier look.
Yeah.
You've got abs coming through. You know, you haven't got a belly. You're chunky. I like that. I like the chunky look. Right, you know? That's,
I don't think you really need to go that far then. I think probably like reducing your body weight by like maybe 10 to 15 pounds would make a massive difference.
Yeah.
And I think like 10 to 15 pounds can be done reasonably fast. I think if you did it gradually as well, like you could still potentially progress in the gym at the same time. You know, if you look for like a pound of weight loss per week, that's not hard to do.
Okay.
You don't have to be in a huge deficit for
Yeah,
that.
you don't.
You could literally have training days where you're like, your diet could be maintenance, and then non-training days where you could be in a deficit.
Yeah.
So actually your training days would get impacted by lower energy.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, 100%.
So you can still like have the energy you need to be able to go to the gym and get those PBs,
Okay.
and then push for fat loss on days where you don't train.
I never thought of that.
It's good
actually.
insight, actually, isn't it? And like maybe it might be worth me going a bit further just to know what it's about, so I can have a bit more respect for it. But it's
sure. I think maybe like we said the other day though, we spoke about that, and I think you've got to be like at a point in your life where you really want to do that. You know, it does become mentally challenging.
Yeah.
And I think you need to kind of go from the get-go of a decision where you go, right, now's the time. I want to get this level of lean.
Yeah.
Just get to where you, like you said there, you don't want to be super shredded.
Yeah.
You want to be like
you want to feel good
lean.
about yourself, blocky, you know.
Do that first, see how it feels, and then go from there.
Okay. It's good. We'll do that then, Joe.
Yeah, it'll be my first time coaching someone.
Oh, you'll love it, man.
I think I
You'll
would.
love it.
Just seeing Connor's like progress, and I'm really passionate about it. So
yeah, Joey's super passionate. He's similar to you.
Nice.
You know,
I just love the gym.
Nice.
Everything about the gym.
Awesome.
Everything I think about is the gym. I
Yeah.
wake up, gym.
Sweet.
Lewis knows, man.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've spoke, obviously not on the podcast, and you told me about some of the challenging times starting your gym.
Mm.
I'd like to touch on that, but also go back to those days when you're in Castle Place.
Mm.
Take me through, like, what made you go, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, you know.
Terrible management, mate. Like, terrible management. Like, the company, Castle Place Leisure Centre was in a very unique position when I worked there. It was literally the only gym in Trowbridge that had that many members. Like, any time Snap wasn't around at that point. So it was them and, well, it was them. It was literally just them. So, really good spot to be in. Multi-story car park attached. You've got parking. You've got classroom, you've got changing rooms, you've got showers, you've got a gym with lots of equipment in. You should be really popping off. We weren't. And I remember thinking, what the hell? And it was literally due to the fact that the company themselves were just gunning for money. And I remember I worked there for a period of time and I thought I could change it. So I was like, right, if I come in here as a passionate gym goer, I can implement what I know about gyms and turn this into this amazing gym. And hopefully the business will value that. I'll be able to progress as a trainer. I'll progress through the business and hopefully help these guys take it to the next level. And every time I came up with an idea, it was just shut down. Like, shut down. My manager didn't like me at all. And I got caught up in just going to work and being a PT. And I remember even being told off for helping someone in the gym with their squats. So like spotting them in the gym. They were literally at a barbell, about 140 kilos on them. They were going through this for the first time in their life. They didn't know whether they were going to do it, so they asked me to spot them. I went over to spot them and my manager said, no, you should be over here hoovering. If he wants to spot, he can pay for a PT session for you.
What?
And I said to him, with all due respect, I'm not going to let that guy get crushed by that barbell because you want that small area over there hoovered. So I'm going to go do that now, and you can penalise me if you want, but I'm going to go make sure he's okay. And I actually got a disciplinary action for that.
Really?
Yeah, I got put into a room. I got
Fuck
disciplined
that
for that.
mentality.
Yeah, so I had to sit down with a manager from another site who worked for the company who said, you disobeyed your manager. I said, yeah, I know, because it was a health and safety thing. And that manager was there like, well, listen, you've got to do what your manager says. And I said, if that same opportunity arose again, I would make the same decision. And he just sat there and went, fair enough, off you go. And I was like, okay, right. And at that point, it just got worse and worse from there. And I remember it got to a point where I had all these PT clients coming in as well, because obviously I was very passionate about what I did. So I had quite a lot of PT clients, and I was getting consistently told off for helping people outside of PTs, giving them a bit of advice and so on. Apparently they should have been paying for that. I'm like, come on, man. And there was like one really like pinpointing moment when I was working in the gym, and I thought about opening up my own business for a while, my own gym. And Maddie would come to the gym, and I had this little leather book in between PT sessions. I'd go into the office and I'd try and work out financially how I could open my own gym, like what everything would cost and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I would draw like logos of like what I want my logo to be, names, all that sort of stuff. And I had this book was full in the end, and me and Maddie would go through it. And she would just go like, just do it, man. You could do really, really well. I was like, oh, maybe, but maybe I need a bit more money. And then one day I went into the office of my manager, and he basically told me that I looked down, and I said, yeah, it's all right though. I've, hit all my targets and stuff. Like, don't worry, like it's all good, And this was at a point where I was like doing so well with PT that I was in the gym like 24/7. Okay, so I was working really well, representing the company really well. I was very polite, always met people with a smile on my face. And I was just down when I was in the cafeteria when no one could see me. And it was my time, so I was allowed to like obviously just be a bit more quiet than usual. And he goes, "Why are you down?" I said, "Well, I just found out my nan's got skin cancer on her nose, so I'm just a little bit worried about that." Listen, nurse, we've all got our problems. I'm there like, this guy is just the biggest arsehole I've ever met. Yeah. So I at that point, I just said, you know what? Fuck this. I went on to online, saw there was a unit available next to a scrapyard. Not ideal, but I'll go down and view it anyway. It was this battered up unit. Literally, the guys that were in there before were carpenters and they used it as storage, but they'd also throw like McDonald's wrappers in there and stuff. It was just an absolute, sorry to swear, shithole. It was the worst place. And I remember looking at it and I sent a picture to my Maddie and then to my mum. And my mum went, "What is that?" And I said, "It's where I'm going to work." And Maddie was like, "Do it. Just get it done. I can see it." And I was like, "I can see it too." Signed the paperwork the same day. Got it across. Turned up at work, said, "You know, I'm opening up my own gym." They banned me from Castle Place after working there for 5 years.
How can
They banned me and said, "You're not setting foot on the premises, stand off your pop." I'm like, for what? Opening up for leaving? I'm still giving you my 30 days notice. I've done it politely. I shouldn't have done it politely. I've done it politely. They're like, "Yeah, because you're a conflict of interest, you're banned. You can never set foot in this gym ever again. It's a lifelong ban." I was like, brilliant. And sorry, no, I'm not allowed to say that. And then my manager at the time said, "It won't last. It won't last. Wow. Lewis won't make it work." I've rolled on like 6 months and I've got like my new car that my gym's afforded me at this point. And it wasn't anything special, but it was enough to show that I was kind of making a bit of a profit.
Yeah.
I'm like driving through the center of town with some like gym equipment I'm about to set up in my gym. And Mark's is, shit. and sorry.
I'll beep it out.
Start again. Okay, we'll fine. You beep out. Okay, fine. This is awful, man. I'm terrible at this. Sorry, guys. Literally, so like we're driving through the center of town and he's walking across the road and I'm like, "No way." And Maddie's like, "No way." And I just beat my horn and he looks around and I go, "Hi." And he just gave me this evil look of like, oh no. And you know, one of those moments where it's like, "Ha, I told you so," a bit like the whole Alan situation, like fuck Alan. It was like, yeah, like
fuck that guy, fuck that guy,
yeah, fuck that guy. And and then that's how it all started. And then obviously we had that unit, that tiny little unit. We had to spend a whole 2 months shaving off all the rogue bits of metal on the walls, getting rid of like rats in there and stuff. And, you know, on the top of the toilet unit, there was a van door. Don't know why. And get rid of all of that, paint the walls up, deck it out with carpet tiles, get as much equipment as I could afford at that point. And then got it in there and then opened up after about a month and a half and just prayed that we would make it. And,
how many clients did you have?
I still had all my PT clients from Castle Place. Which was really good. So that helped me massively. And I think we spoke about this the other day, when you're self-employed and when you have that much money invested in something, like I used all my savings, man. I had like minus £5 in my bank account when we opened. And I was like, I have to make this work. If I don't make this work, I have nothing left. I literally have nothing left. So in that like first month, I was just grinding. Dude, if I wasn't doing PT, I was out in town flyering to people. If I wasn't flying to people, I was messaging people on Facebook. If I wasn't messaging people on Facebook, I was messaging people on Instagram. And if I wasn't doing that, I was filming content to put out. And that was all amongst doing group PTs as well. And just doing as much promotion as I possibly can. In that first month, I earned like, I think close to about $8,000 from just grafting. I used to literally do a PT session. I would then walk outside and then like get into like my car and then sleep for 15 minutes in between because I was so exhausted, and then get out of my car and do the next one.
Really?
Yeah. And it was like, I didn't care about my body at this point. It was just about getting my business off the ground. So I'd just like go up the road, buy a Serene loaf, nail that down and just keep cracking on. It was just go, got to make this work. And we made it work, which is good.
Didn't you say you slept there as well?
Yeah, slept there. There were some nights where like
sleeping and benching.
Yeah. No, it was literally like there were some nights where I would finish really, really late and I had to be there in the morning or whatever. I'd just literally like be like, right, you know what? I'm just gonna cotch here, just sleep and yeah, just wake up in the morning early and get everything ready, and I'd just sleep there for like 5-6 hours.
Really?
Yeah, we used to open at 5 in that small little unit, 5 in the morning. And 4:30, we used to open at 4:30 in the morning because we wanted to be competitive with everybody else. And I was just like, we can do it. And I had to be there to open it up. We didn't have automatic locks or anything. So if I finished at like 11, I was like, what's the point in driving? I lived in Hull at the time, 25 minutes back, and have like 2 hours sleep after I've eaten and then come all the way back again. I'll just sleep here, just grab a blanket and just go with it. Yeah, so had a little office chair. Yeah, and then when we got the secondary unit, we had to do the same because we were trying to like paint it and stuff. And sometimes we finish painting like 12 and have to be up early in the morning. And so me and Maddie would just get like a blow up mattress and just set it up upstairs and just sleep there, and then just get up in the morning, and then she would carry on painting while I took the classes, or it'd be the other way around.
So
Wow, that's a cool
man.
It's such a cool story.
Yeah.
Leading on from that, then, like, give us some sort of challenges that you had setting your gym up.
So this one's gonna get like some controversy, I'd imagine, from like people online around Trowbridge. There was another tribe, actually, yeah, and he was a guy, and he called himself Tribe PT. And actually, to be honest with you, I wish him all the best. I know he's doing good, which is great. That's exactly what I'd want because he seems lovely. But when I opened Tribe, I had no idea he existed. Yeah. So goes back to when I had a community at Castle Place. I used to type in on Google synonyms for community to figure out a name for my brand. And Tribe was one of the first, not the first ones, but it was in a list. And I was like, that's a really cool name. That could go on a t-shirt. That could be a really short name. You know, it's not super long where people are going to struggle to remember it. It's Tribe. It's easy, you know? So instantly when that happened, I went to a company's house. I Googled it. It was all free. Tribe Fitness Center. It was all good. So I bought Tribe Fitness Center, Tribe Wear, I think I bought at the time, and Tribe Fitness. And I registered that. And then, yeah, so we did the whole process of opening up. And then as soon as we opened, we did like an open day and posted on social media on Spotted in Trowbridge. And I'm like, cool, I've got a really good reputation in Trowbridge anyway. People kind of know me as that smiley, friendly guy. And all of a sudden we're getting all this backlash. Yeah. And I'm there like, whoa, like, where has all this come from? People are like, you're stealing his funder, like you're stealing his business. How could you do this? I'm like, whoa, hang on a minute. Like, what's going on? This is mad. And so anyway, so I then was like, oh my God, there's another guy called Tribe PT. He obviously hasn't registered his company name. Okay. I'm like, right. Okay, fine. Or even if he did, if he labeled it under Tribe PT, but nothing popped up even when I typed that in. And I didn't even know he existed, and I can swear to God I had no idea he existed. And yeah, he got all of his members started rippling into us, and I was just really, because at that moment, right, after you put that amount of work effort in, you genuinely could become quite toxic. But I said to Maddie, I was like, look, all we're going to do is going to be completely civil. You know, on all these posts, say we did everything by the book, we registered our company. Didn't know he existed, and that is it. That is exactly what's happened. If we put exactly what's happened, they can just think of whatever stories they want to make up in their head, but we know what's happened. You've been here the entire time, Maddie, you know that. So we did, and actually it paid off really well because it just ended up looking really bad on him because all these people were just attacking us, and I was just like, look, if anybody comes to us looking for Dean, we'll send them to Dean. I can't say his name. If anybody comes looking for Tribe PT, we'll send them to Tribe PT, and I hope that if anybody went to Tribe PT that was looking for me, he would send them back that way. And then someone said a comment, and someone said, you know, I think along the lines of like, who are these guys that are opening up pretending to be Tribe PT? They look like a bunch of Love Island dropouts. And I was like, I mean, that's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, it's not terrible.
Yeah, they're in good shape.
Yeah, they're in great shape. Yeah, 100%. So that happened, and that was kind of a really, really bad way to start because we were just like, you know, put all this money in it. This is like the first major hurdle. But because we treated it really civilly, didn't kick off about it or anything like that, it ended up looking really good for our brand. And actually, it's all died off now, and he does his own thing, and we do our own thing. Yeah, and you know, I didn't really know. I think he was more, and I'm sure within his rights, I think he was a little bit nervous that we were turning up. But I mean, it is what it is. It was kind of like you should have registered your name.
The thing is, it would be a dumb business decision for you to purposely open up.
Yeah, and
you know?
his clients are completely separate to mine.
Yeah,
They're completely separate, and I think I would never want to steal your clients from you, because I think if they began the process with you and you're a good PT, which you say you are, then keep them with you, man. Like, I'm busy with all this stuff on my end anyway.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you can do you and I'll do me. There's enough clients in the world to do that.
plenty to go around.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you know, don't. Yeah, I just think it was like a really, really hard point to start off with. And yeah, now it's fine. But that was a hard point. And then obviously the hardest point of starting up was getting people to sign up to a unit that was opposite a scrapyard. When you've got like any time with these facilities with like showers and stuff like that, we didn't have that.
Yeah.
We had the like dust coming across. That was like our selling point. We're like, oh yeah, do you like clean air? We don't have that.
A fire every couple of years.
Yeah. No, we didn't have that. But what we did have though was like a passion for you. You know what I mean? Like when you came in and you sat down with either me or Maddie, like you knew inside of that like half an hour induction you had with me where we'd sit down, it would end up being 2 hours because I just want to talk to you about what you want to get. You were going to get to where you wanted to be if you joined, like 100%, because I wouldn't be spending that much time with you if I didn't think that I could do it. And also I would tell you what my plan was every step of the way with you. Yeah. And I'd ask you the right questions and I'd let you talk to me about what you wanted to achieve. And I would give you a roadmap of how you're going to get there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
100%. So obviously once they set foot in that gym, I know now because we spoke about the energy, what was your strategy to get people to the gym? What did you do to get your clients to come through that door?
So a good thing was 3 months were good. So like, you know, you say like, look, you can get a 3-month membership. My thing was, like you said, you know, getting them in the door, like was the as soon as they're in. Like, I know that I can provide a great atmosphere when they're in the door. Yeah. So, you know, I do a 3 months membership. I do like, you know, competitions. So, you know, I'm going to give three people a free month at Tribe. Guarantee you to get results, no obligation to sign up afterwards. You can come along, use and abuse it for a whole month and head off afterwards if you want to. Yeah. You know, you don't have to spend any money. If anything, you can cancel your gym membership for a whole month, freeze it and then go back, and then you saved yourself a month. Yeah. You saved yourself 30 quid.
Yeah.
And then when people did that and we got people through the door, they were like, oh, this is really good actually. And then they sign up and then we're like, cool, awesome, this is working. And so that worked. Offering people free one-to-one sessions. It was a lot of grafting, man.
And this is all through social media?
All through social media, mate. Yeah, it was all through like social media. We did a little bit of flyering in town as well. So, you know, face-to-face chats with people. Yeah. You know, like, hey, you know, I'm from Tribe. I've got some flyers. I'm quite good at talking to people. So I just kind of approach them and just be like, hey, like, you know, have you thought about this? This is the other thing as well. Like how you can't approach someone and be like, you look like you need to go to the gym. Yeah. That's a terrible way to approach people. And yeah, I think it was trying to be like, hey, do you go to the gym? Yeah. I currently do you know, this gym. Like, cool. Have you ever thought about changing, or have you ever thought about like, you know, potentially looking elsewhere? Maybe. I've thought about it. Okay, cool. What are you training for? And then get into a conversation with them and then getting them over. And that was that really.
Did that sort of correlate? Did a lot come over from that strategy?
Oh yeah, I think so. I think, you know, it came over. I think generally, yeah, every time we fly, we'd always get people to come through the door. So yeah, 100%, it did work, just as well as social media.
Yeah. Mm. The old ways still work, man.
Yeah, man. Like I used to be a club promoter in Portsmouth as well, so I used to have to fly around for like nights. I used to have my night was Dirty Disco on a Tuesday. I know. It was a Tuesday where it was just mad. It's where all the uni students went. But during the day, you used to have to fly for your event to get people to come along. So I used to like stand on, you know, the islands in the middle of Portsmouth and just hand out flyers to people. So you get very used to talking to people and approaching them.
It's a good skill to have, man.
Yeah, it's great. It definitely helped me with everything else in my life, I think.
So if you could restart your business again,
do
you have any regrets? How would you?
I think I would be. I would probably charge more sooner, because I think I undervalued what we were providing for a long time. I think we obviously need to start low, but we would be able to, not from a greedy standpoint, it's more from like a reinvestment standpoint. Does that make sense? So like, if I had charged more when we started, I think people would have paid that little bit more for the service that we were providing, and that would have allowed us to take more steps forwards in the time frame that we've currently got. So we could potentially already be in another gym by now if we had upped our prices at the beginning. You know, it's not like I want a Bugatti or anything like that. It's not. It's nothing to do with that. It's more about like reinvesting back into
so maybe better equipment quicker, more equipment quicker.
Exactly. Yeah. I think no one's got a problem with paying more as long as you tell them where that money's going to go, right? Like if you say to someone like, I want more money, and you don't tell them that, and you kind of don't tell them where that money's going to go, they think you're going to use it for selfish reasons. If you tell them like, look, listen, I need to up the prices because I want to get us to a new gym by 2024.
Yeah.
All right, cool. That money's going to go towards enhancing my gym experience, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, so I'm doing it for the people and also to help the brand build.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, if we're in a new gym, there's new equipment, there's new facilities, there's showers and bits and bobs. It's going to help you.
100%.
You know,
because that's the thing. You're almost competing. Well, you're not competing, but people perceive your gym as like a competitor to Pure Snap Anytime, when that's not, you're not competing with them at all.
No.
It's a totally different, you know.
No way, man. That's a completely different, we're like we like to call ourselves a fitness center, not a gym. You know, we literally are so hands-on with everybody with getting them to where they want to be. You won't find that in a commercial gym. We're not just a gym is just a place with gym equipment. Do you know what I mean? For us, a fitness center is a place with gym equipment in it, but also you've got someone over to the right of you going, how are you doing today? Like, do you want a spot on this? By the way, when you're doing that, just flare your elbows out a little bit more. Or by the way, when you're doing this, you got a bit of knee pain, let's trade that out. Let's do this instead. Oh my God, okay, cool, that's work. Stick with that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's what makes us
it feels
different.
family. When I first put my foot in there, it felt like family.
Yeah.
Just part of it. Like everyone was just so friendly.
Super welcoming.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's there for the same reason. You're not competing with those at all. But the thing is as well, that's very, very difficult for somebody to replicate, because it takes a certain individual or certain two individuals that can actually take that off the ground, not focus on the money, focus on the experience, but actually like translating that to people's minds as you come through the door. That's not an accident, you know. That's been designed, and it's not been manipulated, but it's been designed. That's how your brand wants to be. You know that it's not happened by accident, you know.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
It's such a like massive thing, because when I first started lifting weights, you know, when you go into the gym, you're so scared. You're so like, oh my God, like everyone's watching me. But when you walk into that gym, it's like, I want to be here.
You almost know everybody instantly. Yeah, it's weird. It's really weird.
Yeah. It's a
nice brothers and sisters.
That's a lot down to our members as well. I've been very fortunate with getting like really, really good members on board. We tend to only really attract like the one type of member, which is it's the friendly, kind, outgoing individual, and the ones that aren't like that don't tend to stick around for very long. And I'm really happy about that, because I personally would want to be around the people that are open to anything and everything. You know, you've got people in there that are doing strongman, people in there doing powerlifting, people in there doing bodybuilding, some people doing marathons, some people doing CrossFit. Like, you're all supportive of each other.
Yeah.
And regardless of like, if you went off to a CrossFit competition, you're going to have strong men and powerlifters on the sideline being like, come on, Connor, let's go. And that's what makes us different, is that you don't have like your clique. It's just a good community, family of people that just support each other in the betterment of whatever it is you want to achieve.
Also, what I've noticed as well, it's not just like that, like lovey-dovey thing. There's like, you guys I know will call people out if there's something happening, or if somebody's not pulling their weight. You'll do it in a way which is, you know, nice, but there's no bullshit in that gym.
No.
You know?
But yeah, I think we have, don't get me wrong, there are times where like people do say things that like obviously might be like, I don't know, let's say like in any gym, you're going to find someone that's like maybe have a tiff with someone else, or might say things that maybe are a little bit offensive to someone. We don't let that shit fly, man. Like, that's not okay. Like, if you come in and there's any kind of animosity and stuff, it's not the day for you to come in here, you know. And if you're like that all the time, then it's not the place for you. Like, ultimately, the gym is a nice environment where people come to have a good time and they want to leave feeling better about their day. Because you could have, like I said this to the guys that I worked with before, you could have the worst possible day. Like you could have like a client that's had someone die in their family or something, and they've been let go of their job, and they've had the worst possible day ever imaginable, right? And the only good thing that's left in their day is us. So we are the difference between them literally falling into like a deep depression and them going home feeling like tomorrow's a new day and I'm going to restart. Do you know what I mean? And it's going to be good because there are still points in my life that are still good. Yeah. So it's our obligation to make sure that everybody leaves that gym feeling like a million bucks. Do you know what I mean? So that's if anybody's going to compromise that, it's just like, no, get out.
It's a fucking good goal to have, man. Honestly is.
Yeah.
So looking forward then, let's go to more your vision. Vision for Tribe, man.
Yeah.
What you got planned?
So I would quite like this. There's multiple different things. Obviously we'd like to expand into a new gym. I'd like to get a new facility. Obviously the facility we got is really good at the moment, but I'd like to be able to expand just slightly larger so we can get more amenities. Then it would be starting to expand to other cities across the UK. So that would be involve going to like, your Bristol, your Swindon, your London, all that sort of stuff, and hopefully getting gyms there that also deliver the quality, get that community aspect, deliver the quality of training that we would want, and also allow us to be able to reach further in terms of us as a brand and as a gym brand as well, and get more people on board. More people working with us. I don't like to say for us because that's not what it's about. It's working with us, and just taking the message of like, this is how gyms should be all the way across the UK, and that'd be really cool. Because I think you got your Pures, your Snaps, your Anytimes that are just like in a very unique spot at the moment where it's their minute. It's them and a few more.
They're making money hand over mouth.
They didn't care. Yeah,
it's just money grabbers.
Cheap, super easy.
Yeah.
They've got no one can compete with them. They've got far too much money. The only way people are going to be able to compete with them is by literally delivering something that isn't around at the moment.
Yeah.
So if we can deliver something that's next level and people experience and they're like, man, this is more than just a gym experience.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna want to go to Pure because Pure's never going to be the same ever again after that.
Yeah.
So if we can expand that all the way across the UK, that would be brilliant. And then alongside that, growing the education of PTs as well. So, I spoke to you about it yesterday, trying to educate more personal trainers. So holding seminars on maybe once a month at Tribe HQ where we take 12 people on board and we say like, look, hey, these are the mistakes I made when I first became a PT. This is what I would change if I was to go back. And this is how you should set up your business. And this is what I have found has worked for me to generate this amount of clients and for me to generate these results. So we're talking like, social media, setting up nutritional plans, how to approach training for each individual, how to price yourself correctly in the area where you are, how to effectively deal with clients that might, again, go back to blood work. When do you actually say, look, actually, this is something that no nutrition can sort or training program can sort. We've actually got to go and we've got to get a blood test now. How do you read those blood tests? Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Look at the results. What's right? What's wrong? What could be improved? What supplements could potentially help? Is this something you could help with? Is this something the doctor needs to help with? Like if you catch on to a lady's FSH or LH levels and they aren't right, then that's probably a sign of menopause. They don't know they go through menopause, which now is going to cause a myriad of different things that they might be unaware of. And there are some people that, some ladies I work with that are okay with being in the menopause. They're like, I just want to push through it. That's brilliant. But if you're unaware that's going on, you just think you feel like shit for no reason.
Yeah.
So, you need to diagnose that, let them know this is what's going on and this is how we're going to work around it. There are going to be good days, there are going to be bad days. Or you should go to your doctor and speak to them about hormone replacement therapy and getting not artificial estrogen, but getting estrogen from other ways into your body. And just going through that and educating more PTs about what to look out for and, how to improve their service really. And I think if we can do that all across the world potentially, then that would be amazing.
Where you think you take what you got at Tribe and you basically replicate it again and again and again. It doesn't necessarily have to be you, but it's you're improving people's lives all over the world.
That's it. The hardest thing though is to make sure you got the right people on board, isn't it?
Yeah.
To carry that message.
That's going to be the difficult part with scale. Like, you've got no worries at all. I've said it to you before. Absolutely zero worries in getting the customers through the door. You've got no issues with the gym. It's keeping that, what you've got now, alive, keeping that energy, keeping that culture. Like, that's going to be the hard part, but you definitely can do it. It's that if you let go of that, then it's going to,
Sure.
But I know you won't. You're not the type of guy that's going to, you can see it. It comes out of you, man. It's
the
you
passion
live it.
just comes out.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate hearing that from you, boys. It's nice. I'm terrible at taking compliments.
I know,
as well.
so am I.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what to say, like,
when you get a present for Christmas as well, it's like, I don't.
Yeah. I said to Maddie yesterday, we went out, and I said, "Oh, Maddie, you look really, really good." She goes, "Oh, thank you." I said, "No, it's no problem." She goes, "You look really good too." I'm like, "Cheers." And I just got my head down. She's like, "What? Are you not going to say like thank you?" I was like, "I did say thank you." And then she's like, "You just seem really off." I'm like, "I just hate it."
In a mood for it.
Hate it. Yeah. I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. I just can't deal with it, man." But I appreciate that, boys. I really do. Thank you.
That's all right. I'm trying to think of some interesting questions now, like not necessarily about the gym, we sort of covered that, but like who's the greatest bodybuilder to ever live?
Oh my days, man. Listen, like, you got like Arnie, haven't you? Arnie is a phenomenal guy. Obviously, we spoke again about this, that the industry would not be the same without him. In terms of just, I think, I really like Frank Zane. Like, I really spoke about it yesterday. A phenomenal guy. Literally, I've got his book. Okay, it's Frank Zane's diary, and the guy has documented every day into his prep into Olympia. Okay, he wrote every day.
Really?
And yeah, it's amazing. It's a weird book, because obviously back then there was no real knowledge. So these guys were finding out from ground zero what worked and what didn't. And there's like a couple of pages in there where it's a week where he's like, this week I'm going to try eating 5 lettuce florets a day. And he gets to like day 6 and he's like, I have eaten 5 lettuce florets a day. Noticed I'm very flat. We'll be adding in chicken next week. And you're like, this guy. But the amazing thing is, this guy is literally the epitome of finding out what works for him. He has gone from like, he's not been aggressive with it. He's not done something for a day and then bailed off. He's done it for long enough to figure out like, okay, cool. No one should be eating 5 lettuce florets. Like, that's it. Yeah. But he's figured out that was rubbish, and he's now starting to add to it from a baseline. And you just see the level of work this guy put into his prep, and you can't help but be, amazed and baffled. I don't think I could last 2 days.
And also how he managed to get through and get to that result, man.
Yeah. And his posing was like nuts.
He was
just so good, man. He's incredible.
He wasn't the biggest guy, but his posing was just incredible.
His body shape as well.
Yeah.
He was like 180 pounds. Yeah, something like that. Something really
but he
nice.
Was so like, just the way he posed, just
wow, incredible.
My favourite's Platts.
Because of the legs.
He's a really inspirational dude, isn't he?
He is, yeah. I mean, he's got videos now of him. He's like, how old is he? Like 70. He's still smashing leg presses and curls and squats, and like, I love a squat video, and this is what I always cue on a squat video.
Yeah.
I sort of learned it through trial and error, but I didn't realise he says it. And he's like, when you squat, your nose should not come forward, come back. Your nose should be straight. Obviously, high bar is different. Low bar's different.
Sure,
he's high bar, man.
Yeah,
and that basically means, like, don't break at the hips, break at the knees first. Like, and that is the key to a high bar squat. But those sort of things, he would have learnt that by doing it, to get as efficient as he can. But these people are just insane. And his hack squat where he rolls his knee forward and like, mate, I love that. I love it.
He was like one of the first people to do like a proper sissy squat one day.
Yeah.
Like a proper sissy squat. Like that was, unheard of before then. Now they use that to treat like knee pain and stuff, don't they?
Yeah.
I personally have never used it to treat knee pain, but I've heard that people do.
Yeah.
It's beneficial.
Joey's done it to create knee pain.
Do you know these monstrous guys in the Olympia? What do you think that division is going to stay forever? Because It's so freaky, and I'm just like,
Well, I think we've seen
from the
a
90s
change
to
already,
now,
haven't we?
it's just ridiculous. And I don't really, I mean, personally, I don't like the look of that. I like the men's physique kind of thing, or the classic. But
so I think that there generally is at a point now, like a bit like what Connor was about to say, it's changed already in a way. I think they're generally looking for more aesthetic guys now. You know, like Big Ramy.
Yeah.
He's a Big Ramy, huge guy.
Yeah.
Talk about him like they call him the Winter, don't they?
Do they? I haven't heard that.
Yeah, like they always say like winter is coming or something. When
Jon Snow.
Yeah, literally. And he didn't even like. And some people say it was like politics or something this year, but he didn't even really place in the top three. I don't think. And he was one of the biggest on stage, but he looked quite sloppy with it. He had like some indentations in his quads.
I think he had an injury or something.
He had like nerve damage. He had stem cells, I think. Stem cell replacement or something. He did that whole treatment and it's helped. But they're generally looking at more guys like Derek Lunsford, who is. Have you guys seen Derek Lunsford? That guy is an absolute freak of nature. I have never seen a guy look that wide in my entire life. He is like, when he does a front double bicep, he literally has wings. A tiny waist, huge lats. And he went from the 212 division and went up to because he won 212, I think 2 or 3 years running, I think. And then went up to the open. And he then placed top 3 straight away.
Really?
Which is
just belongs in that category.
I mean, he belonged in 212 since he won. But he was just like, that's not enough for me. And he kept having to cut weight drastically to get into 212. Like he was having to like struggle to get in. He'd come in at like weigh in at like 211 or something, and he would be dying for it. So as soon as he went to open, he just let his body grow, and he now is just this huge guy. And he does look very cool because he looks very aesthetic as well. So I think, like going back to what you said, I think it is changing already. I think it's slowly going back to more of the aesthetics. And I think the judges are looking for that reason to go that direction. You know?
What's Seaburn? What's he in?
Classic bodybuilding.
Would you ever do classic? Because I think you.
That's what I'm doing next year, man.
Really?
That's the goals. Yeah. So I've done men's physique now. I think I had a chat with a coach last year, and he was like, "Look, you've kind of the next logical route would be to go for my pro card, and I think." I just don't love it enough. I think everybody watches the first Terminator and Predator and stuff and sees Arnie, and you kind of go, that's what kind of you want to be doing in it. You know, when you tell people I do men's physique, they're like, oh, what's that? You're like, well, it's kind of bodybuilding, kind of not. You want to be like, I do bodybuilding. If you're going to get up on the stage, you just go, I'm a bodybuilder. You know, I want to do that. And whether or not I do well in it or not, I don't know. I'm planning to do well. I just got to grow this year and go into next year.
I'm excited to see.
I want to see that. We'll be front row, be like,
like you're gonna be a beast, man.
Thanks, man.
What's your favourite pose?
Mate, I haven't found one yet. Man. I genuinely haven't found one that like I feel good in. I like a good side chest, man.
Side chest.
I like a side chest. I love a good side chest. That's a good one. Front double bicep, I'm okay in. My back is shocking.
Shocking, well, your back's lagging, is it?
Yeah, my back is shocking, man.
Which bar?
My lats. I've got very, 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 very strong erector muscles down the center of my spine because I just deadlift very heavy. My outer lats, I think my rhomboids, traps, and erectors have compensated for my lats for a long time, which meant that my lats have lagged behind so I'm thick, but I'm not like wide. You know, which is what I need. So a lot of that has come down to exercise selection this year and just making sure I'm doing a lot of like single arm lat work, activating the lats and making sure they're working correctly. And it's all about trying to find the right position as well to pull down to and all that sort of stuff. So I found that now, and hopefully over the next sort of year it will grow. But and
more so like feeling the muscle rather than weight.
Yeah. My funny story with that, actually, my coach last year that helped me get my placing at my men's physique show. Literally, I competed at my first show, and I came out on stage because I got a few placings last year. I got like a third, I got a second, I got a first. I think I might have got a third, fourth, and first. I can't remember. But anyway. I went out for my first show, and this is the one where I got a third or a fourth. And I came out, and if you're in the middle of a lineup, you're generally first, right?
Okay.
So I'm holding my front pose like this, and I'm right in the middle. And these judges are like, I can tell their eyes are on me. Like 2 bros competition. I'm like, cool, this is good. Like, this is a real good position to be in, right? This is great. And they turn us a quarter turn to the right, quarter turn to the right. I'm still in the middle. They're moving people around. I'm staying pretty consistent. They do a back, and we go to the back, and then they ask me to move to the right, which means I've gone down a place, go down.
Oh, no.
And then they go back to the front, and then I stay there for a little bit. And they go, and to the back, guys. Go back to the back. No, I move out again. Like, it's every time I turn to the back, I'm just moving out. So now I'm like, just be done. Don't tell me to go to the back anymore.
Yeah.
Just finish here, please. I'm fine. Like, I'm okay. And yeah, my coach literally was a very blunt guy. His name was Saad. I really appreciate everything he did for me that year. But he was this like hardcore dude, and that's why I employed him, because he was just totally like it was. He was just an amazingly blunt guy. And he went, as soon as it came off, he goes, "Your back is shit." I was like, "Thanks, Saad." There's my missus behind me going, "But you did really well." I'm like, "Thanks, buddy." Appreciate that. And then he just kind of said, like, "Look, listen, if you were going to get your pro card, you need a full year to work on your back. Like, you need a long time." He was like, "No more deadlifts for you. You're not doing any more deadlifts." So I was like, "Oh shit, I really like that though."
That's the funny thing, because like you got your compound lifts and like the stuff that you love to lift, it doesn't translate to aesthetics, man.
No, definitely not
at all.
Yeah.
It does to a certain point. You can build a decent physique just doing like bench, squat, deadlift, but you get more like blocky and unsymmetrical, don't you?
Yeah, and it's all about like your body and your genetic makeup as well, and how your body functions with certain different muscles. You've got some people that have we spoke about this the other day about deadlifting. Having a slightly curved upper back is never a bad thing. You know, what you're looking for is a progressive curve, you know, so a lot of your elite powerlifters will have a slightly curved upper back, and it will maintain that curve the entire way through the lift. Your spine is meant to have a slight curve in it at the top. Generally, for those people, though, you are going to find they have a lot of erector rhomboid trap activation because they're having to compensate a lot. And that's fine for the powerlifting sport. That's brilliant. However, your lats, although they're used, they're not really loaded correctly. So you will find with those individuals, they will develop this way, which is what I am. So you just get quite thick. However, you get some people that have a very flat back when they deadlift. They get maximal lat contraction, and for them, they deadlift and they just get really wide. And you're like, okay, cool. So again, this goes back to exercise selection for the individual. One thing does not suit all. You have to figure out what exercise works for the individual, and you have to look at them and kind of say, like, look, like deadlifting ain't for you if that's your goal. But, you know, again, it comes down to as well, what will keep you going to the gym more consistently. I still deadlift because I'm like,
you love
deadlifting. So if you took deadlifting away from me, I'd be real depressed. So I'm like, I'm still going to deadlift, but I am going to spend the majority of my session on single arm lat work, isolation work, going lighter, feeling the muscle afterwards.
It's so interesting as well when, like, say me and Joey are training in the gym. Joey can be like, "Oh man, I feel this. Like, this feels so good." And then I'm on it. I'm like,
doesn't
cool.
feel so
like, you know, it's weird, isn't it? How your body. Everybody's got different exercises and little cues as well. Like I remember I used to follow a guy called Sebastian Oreb. Have you ever heard of the Australian strength coach? I think I've heard of him. Yeah.
Great guy. He's a guy who coached Hatfield Bjornsson on the 501 kg deadlift. Phenomenal amount of weight. But he has like a whole. If you guys ever want to see a perfect tutorial on how to do a powerlifting bench, squat, and deadlift, he has a whole tutorial on YouTube for free. It's like 25 minutes. You can just watch it. Yeah. And this is a guy that's very elite inside of the industry, and it taught me loads of cues for different things. And one of his things was, imagine you've got a piece of paper under your feet when you're squatting and you're trying to press the paper apart and tear it down the middle. So it forces you to externally rotate your knees a little bit and trigger on the glutes. Yeah, which is great. So for me, I did it and it made sense. And I was like, oh, that's quite cool. That's a nice cue. say it to someone else, I'm like, right, split the floor. Imagine there's a piece of paper under your feet. They're like, why the fuck would there be a piece of paper under my feet? I'm like, because there is in this circumstance. It's imaginary, but it's there.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, but that does nothing. And then now they're overthinking it, and they're not
Yeah.
thinking about the actual movement themselves. So
Yeah.
actually, one cue works for one, doesn't work for the other. You just, again, it's all about trying to work with the individual, isn't it?
And also as well, it's like going back to high bar, low bar, like that cue I couldn't do. Only because the way that like I'm focusing on getting my knees as far over my toes as I can, so it activates my quads. So my glutes are nowhere to be seen, as we discussed. Like I could not glute bridge fuck all because my glutes are so weak. But whereas in like a low bar, that is perfect because most of your hammies, your glutes are firing. You know, you use your back, aren't you? But and also with like conventional and sumo, two totally different movements. Like one guy could. You know, conventional, insane amount of weight, and then couldn't sumo shit.
Yes,
it's so interesting.
Yeah, exactly. It's the individual, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, and what works for you. Your high bar's nuts, man.
Yeah,
I love
all the way down to the floor.
Yeah.
I was actually impressed with that sport myself. Normally, I'm a bit like. But with that one, I was like, that was almost perfect. That was almost
We've created a monster.
That was almost perfect.
He is now perfect, guys. Remember that. He tried once and he is now perfect. So if any of you want to be perfect too,
you can go on Love Island as well.
You can be a dropout. You can be a dropout on Love Island, apparently. You can all look like that. Yeah, honestly. But yeah, if I was able to go on Love Island, I'd just sit in the pool and eat all the food. I'd just sit there on a lilo, and I just float over to the buffet.
I reckon we should get you on Love Island, man.
Yeah, we
so
should.
Fucking fun.
I don't know how Maddie would feel about that though.
If I tell her that I would just go on there for a free holiday and free food, I think she'll be right.
And £1 million,
yeah. I've got to be with someone for that though. To be fair, Connor. You know they always bring in the ex-girlfriend. They do. Now and again. Maybe we do it like that. Maybe we just like pawn a persona where we pretend to break up.
Yeah, you do a breakup.
And then they bring her back in and we get back together. Oh,
mate, it'd be love it.
We sorted it. We'll split it 3 ways, boys.
Yeah. 3 ways.
Maddie, if you're listening to this is a game plan.
Growth, or was it an accident? It
was an intentional growth, man. Like, so social media wise, So when I first started, I bought followers for a little bit. So I bought like my first 5,000 followers, and that was rubbish. It was like the worst possible thing. Like I remember thinking like, because the thing is people follow you and you follow your growth over time, don't they?
Yeah.
And you can see when like my growth up to like 25k where it is now has been like reasonably gradual. But like when it was like, I went from like 4,000 to like 9,000 like in a day.
Yeah.
And I was like, no one's going to notice. Everybody notices.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking that was the worst decision ever. So then generally what happened was over time, just sort of posted, and I've been very fortunate with the stuff that I posted, the stuff that I wanted to post. And that's generally generated followers over time, which has been great. But again, it's been over a long time, you know, so a lot of those followers are now probably inactive followers now. So I, on average, would get roughly around 500 to 600, maybe 700 likes a post, which is nowhere near the 25,000 that I've currently got. And part of that's down to the algorithm and Instagram, obviously showcasing certain things. You can pay for promotion now and ads and stuff. You know, I follow some people that I avidly follow, and they'll all of a sudden go from my top bar of like recently viewed. I'm like, I haven't seen Josh's post in a while. Like, what's going on with Josh? He's posted 4 times. I haven't seen it. And you're like, what the hell's going on? So at the beginning, it was very fortunate with generating followers based on the content I was putting out. And then now it's less about trying to just generate followers. For me, it's more about just delivering good content, because I don't really care about the number. My thing is, if you're one person, you come onto my page, you can see I'm passionate about fitness. You know what my brand is about. You know what I offer as a person, as a product. So as a business, as a coach, you know what I can offer you. And this is what sets me apart from everybody else. And if you can get that gist from my page and see that there's lots of posts of me training or people that I work with, then that I'd much rather have one client that I get a closer bond with and maybe come on board as a client, rather than just a guy that just hops on board and decides to like my photo every now and again. You know, so I think, you know, I know guys that do really well with 4,000 followers, like really well. And I also know guys that do terrible with 50,000. So it all comes down to the quality of the followers you have.
Mhm.
And mine are good. And don't get me wrong, I appreciate everybody that follows me. It sounds really, really really arrogant. I don't, but I appreciate it.
It's just the facts, man.
Yeah, you've got to say it. I don't think every influencer would probably tell you, and I wouldn't say I'm an influencer at all. I'm nowhere near that mark at all. But I'd rather influence the people a little bit more hands-on by helping as many people out as I possibly can that are willing to like get in contact, potentially work with me. Do you know what I mean?
There's a few sort of you know, like women. This is just an example. There's many different examples. You know, women that just sort of post
pictures of their bums.
Pictures of the bums and like bikinis and stuff like that, like nipples through their tops. They've got like say 2 or 3 million followers. People think that translates to a shit ton of money, which if they're smart, it does, because they know they can leverage it a different way. But the problem is what company's going to come on to sort of sell a product?
Yeah.
It's a bikini company, right? The majority of your followers, what are they? Men, right? So it's like there's not many men who are going to buy bikinis. So it's when I look into stuff like that, it's quite interesting for me because, like you said, there are a lot of guys out there. There's people out there with 10,000 followers. They're making 100 grand a month from that tiny following. So it's the niche, you know. You don't need the big numbers. It doesn't have to happen like that. You've just got to connect really well.
The time of having more followers, meaning you're a better person at your whatever it is you do, is completely gone now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think I probably would. I'm sure you guys might be the same. I'd probably be more likely to give someone my money and work with someone with maybe like 5 to 10,000 followers now, than someone with 2 million, because I just think in my head, if you've got 2 million people, how are you going to find the time for me?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? In a weird kind of way.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather see loads of transformations from the 5 to 10,000 follower guy and see it all over his page. I've followed him for a while, and yeah, cool. I'm definitely going to work with that guy because he's got time.
Yeah.
You know, so. And
companies have spotted that as well now. Like because at the start, when you had like these big influencers that had 2-3 million, they were just chucking money at these guys because they were like eyeballs converts to cash, you know. But they realize they've got data now, and they realize like it doesn't convert, you know. It's interesting.
When I used to work for Body Power, which was a expo at the NEC, that was a phenomenal time. That was crazy. I was their athlete manager for a bit, which meant I'd have to deal with people like BPI when they're bringing like, you know, the sports supplement brand. I had to talk to them about what athletes they bring along to the show. They brought along Hulk Hogan, which was incredible. And I met people like Brian Shaw, Eddie Hall, Kai Green, like all those guys. These incredible dudes. And I remember picking up a guy, I'm not going to say who it is because, again, it's kind of probably doesn't reflect on him as great. But he was going to film a fitness video at our Body Power gym. And I had to go pick him up at the train station. And he was around my age. And we were chatting. It was like half an hour drive from the train station to the gym. We were chatting and talking about stuff. We then chat while he's filming his video. We get along really, really well. And then we ended up talking about like how I could grow my sort of fitness profile and stuff. And this guy has a lot of followers. And he told me how much money he spends each month buying fake ones. Really? And told me how much he gets from buying fake. So he would spend roughly anywhere between $1 to $2 grand on buying fake followers per month. But the amount of money at that time, because again, it was all about followers. You know, you couldn't really see statistics or anything back then. It was just who has loads of likes. That'll definitely carry over to more business for the company. He was getting like 10 to 15 grand coming in from like ads and bits and bobs.
And he was literally just buying followers.
They were just buying followers. So he'd buy followers, buy likes. He'd spend $1 to $2 grand on that, and then he'd make 15, and then he'd profit.
That's insane. How long ago was that?
Oh man, 8 years ago now.
Thing is that time then, like you said, there's no statistics. These companies were just chucked because the thing is, if they fell behind, they were fucked. They kind of had to just chuck money at it. You know, a load of money at a load of different people, pay them, get a couple of posts, see what stuck. But now they understand now. Like, it's going to be people like you who have got a audience who are super passionate for what you do. That you're the guy that can sell that shit to them, because the problem is you're not going to promote anything that you don't believe in. That's the kind of guy you are. Your followers more than likely know that. Definitely the people in your gym do. So that's where they're going to get their sales. If you promote their shit, your followers know that it's the real thing.
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. And I think a lot more brands are looking for people that have potential as well. They want to grow with someone rather than just be there to kind of like be the cherry on top of someone's already grown platform. So they'd much rather find someone who's on the come up and be with them and help support them, because it looks good for the brand, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, and again, you know, if it's like you said, I wouldn't partner myself. I've had companies approach me to work with Tribe, supplement brands and things like that. I've actually turned down and said like, no, you know, I don't really believe in it. You know, I had someone, I know CBD oils, like some people believe it works, some people believe it doesn't. Studies show that it might do, but I'm not a massive believer in the amount it costs for the actual like carryover of it for what you get. I think if you have the money, then brilliant, but I also think that there's lots of other things that you should probably invest that money in before CBD. Does that make sense? 100%. So I wouldn't really want to partner with a company that does CBD oils yet until I know a little bit more about it. And I'm sure at some point in the future, maybe a company might approach me and then be able to talk to me a little bit more about it and give me more reasons as to why. But I need to really be sold on it, you know? And I've said no to that partnership before. And to a few others as well, the like protein shakes and things like that, where I'm like, come on, man, you're just trying to make money.
Like amino acids and stuff like that.
Yeah, man. The thing about amino acids as well, it's so irritating. Someone told me this once, and mate, okay, so in BCAAs, one of the main branched chain amino acids you want to look for is leucine. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so leucine is the main primary driver amino that helps with muscle growth.
Yeah,
and you generally need anywhere between sort of like 4 to 5 grams. You could even go down to like 3.5 grams potentially, but it's better to have 5. Yeah, like 5 grams is perfect. Now, if you have, like say for example, a product in Tesco's and it's like a cheap BCAA supplement, and you've been told by someone in the gym that you should go get some BCAAs. Okay, and that person has gone like, get one with like leucine in. Yeah, and you go in there and you see these brands and these pots of products, these BCAAs, and it says on the front, contains leucine. Yeah, you go, cool, awesome. You buy that one and you use it. Problem is sure, it contains leucine, but it might only contain 0.00001 milligram of it, because that's all they need to put in there for it to say it contains leucine. They've just cut costs. That's what they've done. They're selling this cheap product and it say it contains leucine when it really doesn't, not enough anyway that even touches the sides for you.
Yeah.
And it's clearly just a ploy to get money. And, you know, we sell supplements at Tribe, and all of the supplements that we sell, I've like vetted to make sure like actually it's got enough in.
It's got enough protein.
You know, it's got enough leucine in, got enough like glutamine, all the other ones as well. It's just making sure that everything is adequate for the individuals and making sure they're going to get the most out of it.
Can you list those? Can you say who they are?
What are the brands?
Yeah.
The really good brands. Naughty Boy is really, really good. Naughty Boy is good.
I've never actually done.
Naughty Boy is really good. Yeah, really, really good. Optimal Nutrition tend to be pretty spot on. I think Optimal Nutrition are or have to be spot on because they work with the military. I think they're one of the only brands that actually have a accreditation. And you said you were in the Marines, right?
Well, I wasn't training, but I think I know what you mean. Yeah,
you've got like a list of the brands you can use.
Yeah.
You think you were like PhD, and then you have was PhD on there? Do you remember?
I think so. Yeah.
And then Optimal Nutrition definitely is. Yeah. So like ON is kind of vetted, so they have to have enough. You know, which is good. Most of the major brands now, like generally, you just want to spend a little bit more. Don't try and cut costs on BCAAs. I would always say like you're probably going to pay a minimum of like, I'd say lowest like 20 quid or 25 quid.
Yeah.
You know, like Naughty Boy BCAAs are roughly around £27.50 for us. That's generally around the market you want to look for. Okay. If it's 15 quid, they're probably cutting corners at some point.
Okay.
Unless it's on a offer, a really, really weird offer, then yeah, sure.
What's the non-negotiable supplements for, say, somebody who is training well, diet's in check? Like, what's the next stage? What should they be taking?
So training well, diet's in check. BCAAs are amazing. Love branched chain amino acids. I'll definitely put that up there in terms of not just only for recovery, but also defense during your exercise as well. So protect against any catabolism during your exercise. So your body, when you're training, if you're training for like a long session, for example, it gets a point where your body can no longer, you've kind of ran out of energy reserves. So your body will start to attack other muscle tissue that isn't being used as energy, just as a defense mechanism. BCAAs tend to stop that process from happening, or there's studies that prove that. Multivitamins to cover all your bases, make sure you've got your vitamins in. I don't think many people get enough of the essential, sort of vitamin B5s. You've got your vitamin C's as well. And not many people get enough vitamin C, which is incredible. People just don't like eating fruit nowadays.
Yeah.
But honestly, I've got some clients that are like, I just don't eat fruit. They're like, what?
Yeah.
And like, okay, cool. You must be getting vitamin C in from like green peppers. I don't like vegetables either, for fuck's sake. You're like, oh man, like, come on, no, you've got to help me out here. So, you've got your, trying to think of the ones that I would recommend.
Pre-workouts.
Nah, only if needed, man.
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, you can if you want, if you need that buzz.
I find that's really like sort of counter beneficial.
Because you can get addicted to it.
Yeah, like sometimes you kind of, I went through a stage where I was like on pre-workout and I was thinking like, I feel good. But then I was getting to the point where like, I couldn't squat heavy without taking a pre-workout or having some
It's like the same with headphones. Like music.
Yeah.
Same kind of concept.
See, I squat without music. I normally squat dead without music. The only time I've got one squat song, and if I'm going for a PR, I'll chuck it on. But with with these drinks, I just think like you can get dependent on them.
Just imagine you're like in a library and everybody's reading, and over in the corner is Connor doing a squat.
That's from like the Olympic weightlifting background, though, mate. Yes, there's like when you hear duality come up in the background.
Someone turns the page, is that a little bit too loud? Oh my god!
Yeah,
I'm trying to squat.
I'm trying to squat. You're gonna cut me off, bro.
So probably fish oils definitely. A digestive enzyme really helps. Vitamin D, which is massively like. We don't get enough. It's England, isn't it? But at the moment, the sun's out. But what's that, like a month or two a year?
Yeah.
We need more vitamin D. And, there's a whole myriad of other supplements that can definitely benefit guys and girls. But it depends on whether or not you need them. Like I was talking to a guy the other day about optimizing his testosterone. And I'm not too sure if you guys, have you heard of a product called Fedoja?
No.
It's Fedoja agrestis. It's from a plant. So basically what Fedoja agrestis does is it stimulates your brain to produce more of the luteinizing hormone, which is your LH level, which is the signal from your brain down to your testes to produce testosterone, or if you're a lady, to your ovaries to produce more estrogen. And it literally just improves your function of testosterone. So, there's markers that show that you get like a 200% increase in your, I wouldn't say 200, but like 150 to 200% increase in your testosterone production, just because you get more produced from your testes or your estrogen from your ovaries as well. And you can dose that at like 600 milligrams. That's a natural supplement as well.
Okay.
So there's lots of like different supplements that you would then recommend to people.
Yeah.
But based on a like client by client basis. Do you know what I mean?
As and when needed kind of
thing.
Yeah.
And it's even easier to recommend those if you get them to do a blood test. Like if you get them to do a blood test, you get like a full workup. You can see where people are lacking. Even some people are lacking in iron, like an iron supplement for some, and then for other people, they might have too much iron, so, it's one of those where you need to try and figure that one out.
You got to be like a scientist, man.
Yeah.
No, he's literally just, you just got to literally read someone's blood work well, and then, know what you're doing. It's just it is literally just learning over 10, it's been a decade for me. So a lot of learning over 10 years.
Yeah. Long time. I feel like we could talk for hours, man. Literally just keep going. You got a lot of knowledge.
There's so much.
One thing I want to touch on is you mentioned it earlier is anxiety.
Sure.
Can you go through like maybe what you're experiencing with anxiety?
Yeah. So obviously anxiety sucks. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
When I was at uni, probably when I was like 18, 19, I suffered from like major anxiety to the point where I could not leave my room at university. So I'd go to a lecture, because I have to go to a lecture because I wanted to get my degree. And I would sit right at the front left-hand corner of the room. And the only reason why I would sit there was because I could make it to the fire exit if I needed to dash because I was going to have a panic attack. And I told the lecturer at the time, if I go, don't worry, just let me go. And I used to sit there and I used to have anxiety that people were looking at me. I was going to die. I was going to have a heart attack. You name it, like the thoughts would just fill my head. And I would then leave if I was having a panic attack. Obviously, you get that like heart rate going up, can't catch your breath well. And I would run back, and counterproductive if you can't catch your breath. Obviously, it made it worse, which then led to the panic attack getting worse. Get back home, go up to my room, and I would chill in there and I would wait until it passed. And it would always pass in my room at my uni house at the time. And I remember thinking, shit, this is really bad. Even got to a point when I went home for like holidays, I talked to my mum about it. My parents are really supportive. Like I love my parents. Like I wouldn't be who I am today without them. But I used to talk to my mum about it, and no advice that she gave me. It was the first time in my life where I spoke to my mum about it, and I couldn't take anything on board she was telling me. There was something else going on in my brain that was stopping me from taking any advice on board. I tried everything. I tried like yellow sticky notes all across my walls in my room, you know, on my door when I would leave, saying like, if you feel like your heart rate's increasing, deep breaths, you are not dying, people aren't looking at you, all this sort of stuff. And yeah, it never worked, and nothing worked until like one day something clicked where I just thought, you know what, if I have to always be either in my bedroom at home or in my room at my uni house, and that's where all of a sudden it gets better, nothing has changed to me physically between the time when I'm in my uni lecture and being at home in that room. Like I'm still just the same person, just in two different environments. So if I can recover here, I can recover there. Yeah. So I've just got to push through it. And I remember once having that panic attack, and I'm like, nah, you know what? Screw this, man. I'm going to sit through this. And I got through it. And that was like day one of my recovery at that point. And it was a long road to recovery, man. I still suffer from it now, every now and again, because I think everybody does.
Yeah. I've been to hospital multiple times with like having a heart attack, like all this sort of things, had scans done. And it's like, we were squatting the other week, weren't we? And I was having a panic attack on the bar, basically. Yeah. Don't know, it's not from, like, yours might have been a little bit more of like an outside stimulus, like people were looking at me. I've got nothing like that. It might be sort of just stress that's coming through. But like, out of nowhere, Joe, wasn't it? Like on a squat bar, and I'm like, man, I got to put this in. I'm like going all wobbly. I got to walk over there. I got to like, But I think like what you're saying is like, you kind of got to embrace that anxiety. If you try and fight it, the worse it becomes. Like if you just let it happen, and you kind of say like, if I fucking die, I die, because that's what it is. You're like, I'm having a heart attack, or I've got this, or I've got that.
Yeah, like, literally, that is like the best statement, isn't it? If you die, you die. Like that's where I was at near the end, and I'm sure you're the same, and I'm sure you're the same. You kind of have to just have that mentality of like, I'm having a panic attack. If I die, I die. Like, let's be honest, there are people around me. If I look like I'm going to go into cardiac arrest, someone will get an ambulance here anyway. Yeah. If anything, you being at home or being on your own, which is where your brain wants to be, is a worse position to be in than being in public right now. So you're better off just sticking through it. And you can go through it if you just hold on. And it's super hard. You've got to be in the right mindset to go through that.
Because when you're in that position, your mind's so illogical. It's not thinking correctly. It's like, it's in flight or fight, isn't it? You know? And you're thinking, right, the worst is happening, like it's happening now. And then within like 10 minutes of it passing, you're like, I feel fucking good. Yeah. It's weird. It's so weird. It's such a weird thing to...
Yeah, it's a strange thing to have to deal with, isn't it?
I think it's probably like the way that you're thinking about the way that you're processing the problem. Yeah. And then if you keep repeating that, it just goes on top of it and then on top of it, and then it gets to the point where some energy has to be released, and it's released through a panic attack. It's really interesting.
Do you know, I found a really cool thing about anxiety, like probably the other day actually, I was listening to a podcast. I found out that like, for me personally anyway, from the people that I've worked with, like guys in their like 50s and some of them in their 60s will come across anxiety in their later years and they never suffered from it before. And I always used to think like, okay, fine, there could be some outside thing that's going on right now that maybe you're panicked about. And I never really thought of it from like, again, going back to like a hormonal standpoint. And I was listening to a podcast about the science behind testosterone and its links to the brain. And how we have androgen receptors. If we think that, like, obviously there's androgen receptors inside of the muscles, so the higher testosterone we have, the more those androgen receptors get stimulated and we effectively grow more muscle. There's part of the brain that is also affected by testosterone too. And actually it releases a feeling of relief. So that those androgen receptors, when they're actually stimulated, will relieve you of any like stress.
Okay.
So there has to be enough testosterone in the body, free testosterone, to travel to the brain to be able to release that hormone of you being like, oh. Do you know what I mean?
No one tests.
So that's exactly it. So actually, this guy in this podcast was saying, get these guys to go in and get their hormone levels checked out, because it might be in their like 50s and their 60s, but they're suffering from low testosterone because that happens.
Yeah.
You know, it happens over time. So, you know, there are, again, anxiety used to be something that like no one could really cure. And that was my biggest thing with anxiety, was like, fuck's sake, you know, it's all in the brain of the person that has it. You have to try and just get over it. And sure, there's medication maybe that can alter your brain, but we didn't really want to go down that route.
Yeah, I'll never go on medication for it.
No.
It's like, yeah, it's
No. And so, you know, it's quite cool to see that there are other things that may be at play that cause it,
yeah.
and there are other ways to treat it, you know. But yeah, anxiety is fucking horrible, man.
It's so fucking weird.
Fucking horrible, dude.
But,
Horrible. Used to make things really, really tough as well.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about you guys, but I used to like, I don't know, go and try and train and sometimes have like a panic attack.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously like you said, when you're under the barbell, but I'd like be doing some side delt raises and randomly just have like a panic attack halfway through and be like, right, well that's that session over then. I've like done 2 sets of side delt raises. You're like, oh.
What's that all about? I'll get it like, not at the moment, but I have it where like I'll sit up, bolt upright in the bed, having a panic attack, and Savannah has to say to me like, calm down, like it's happening again, you're right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, and then once that happens, you're like, yeah, she's right. Like, it's so weird.
Yeah.
Right.
And then Joe, you said your anxiety is caused by...
I think it's the outside stimulus, as Connor's just said. I think it's like people looking at you, the way you look, and it's just constant. But I think over the years, I'm getting better and better.
I think that probably comes down to like the Asian culture as well, because like not because you were
No,
saying to me
I
that
was
a lot of
saying-
people are really judgy.
No, it is a true thing. Like my
Asian-
culture, if you're unhealthy, they will tell you.
Yeah,
If you come to a party, you were skinny a few months ago, and you come back to another party, like you've gotten fat. But it's a good thing,
Yeah.
because not a lot of people get the real like you're fat,
yeah.
like straight.
Sure, I'm
fat.
surrounded by just a bunch of rude people.
no, I'm not. Sorry, Mum, I had to call you out there.
yeah, Mum, I'm not fat, alright? Listen. No.
Yeah, it's
That's
definitely
fine.
a cultural thing. It's a good thing, but then it could also be a bad thing.
Yeah.
I have 3 questions.
Okay.
What's your favourite lift in the gym? And top 3 bodybuilders? And favourite food on prep?
Okay. First question was what's your favorite lift in the gym? At the moment, squats. I love squats. Barbell back squats are amazing. If I was going to tell you my top 3 bodybuilders, it'd be Ronnie Coleman, it would be Frank Zane, and it would be, would you classify Chris Bumstead as a bodybuilder if he's a classic bodybuilder?
Yeah, definitely.
Chris Bumstead, because I think he's done an absolute phenomenal job in actually publicizing his whole journey and also just making the actual whole industry look really good.
Yeah,
It's like a
he's
really
cool
good ambassador
guy.
for it.
He's
Yeah.
a cool guy.
And the last question, remind me of the last one.
Favourite food on prep?
Favorite food on prep. Bagels.
Bagels. With
Bagels,
just
man.
plain bagels.
No, I'd have it with like a little bit of butter and jam. That was,
Okay.
like, the best
Yeah.
part.
Actually, one more tip for new beginners. What's your biggest tip for them?
find
starting
something you enjoy and stick with it until you get to a point where maybe your results start to slow down, then start to look into it in detail at that point. But just build a healthy habit first, enjoy it, and then keep that going for as long as possible. You say it takes 3 months to build a habit or something like that?
Yeah.
Build that habit in first and then start to get a little bit more like accurate with everything.
Okay.
I think you need to start just getting to the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah, make it too complex too fast and you're just
Yeah,
going to bail
you'll
off.
just burn out.
I got 2 more.
You got 2 more.
Yeah, I got
I've literally got ask as many as you want.
I got most underrated exercise and most overrated exercise in the gym.
Underrated exercise. Go God, man, you really put me on the spot. You tell me your underrated exercise. You tell me yours. Most of you.
Underrated exercise, I'd say, is probably, for me, cable like kickback on the glute.
Okay.
Before squats,
good
like
one.
Firing my glutes and actually back extensions with like a barbell.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
For me, what the underrated?
Underrated.
Pull-ups, because I don't see a lot of people doing pull-ups. That's one major.
All of those are very good ones, man. Yeah, I think probably. I do think hyperextensions are very good. I think a lot of people don't do any work for their lower back.
Yeah,
individually, but also I do think pull-ups, because all of those three you just gave me are really, really good. But I do think pull-ups as well, I think are good. The only problem with pull-ups is that like if you struggle with pull-ups, form is just going to go a bit nuts.
Yeah.
You can't really scale a pull-up unless you band it, can you?
Or you have a pull-up machine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd probably say I would double down with hyperextensions. I definitely think hyperextensions are definitely underrated.
Let's go with overrated now then.
Overrated.
You go first. Let Joe go first.
Fine.
Deadlifts.
Deadlifts. Joey.
Because I love pull-ups. I think pull-ups are the best. Like, because it's a compound exercise. I'd say pull-ups, but I think so because you're carrying your whole body. It's the same thing as lifting a really heavy deadlift.
Nah, not if you've got 250 kilos.
Yeah, but if you're loading up and you're literally grabbing the bar and you have an extra 100 kilos around your legs.
Things with a deadlift though, it's not necessarily just a deadlift, it's a squat as well. You know, it's like it's your legs, it's everything.
It's a whole posterior chain. Yeah.
But then that's the same.
It's because you don't like deadlifts. It's because you hate deadlifts. Right? You hate deadlifts.
But no, I'm just saying. There's different ways to build your back than just a deadlift. Like you said with your back,
you
absolutely overdevelop one part. But with a pull-up, you're using you're using your bicep in a deadlift. But with a pull-up, you're really like, I feel like it's everything upper body. Even your shoulders get pumped, especially if you put weight on. I think, pull-ups there.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. Yeah, I see it. I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, definitely.
What's yours?
You give me yours first.
Most overrated exercise.
Anything's good from here. He's just offended.
Can it be like a machine specific?
Sure, man. Anything.
Okay. Joey's not going to like this. I'm going to say it depends. It's in our gym. I think the seated pec deck.
I swear you like them. Unless we do a lot of high reps.
I don't really get anything from it. No. I feel it more on my shoulders.
Would you say that it's down to the machine, or would you say the seat position's alright?
Could be the position of the machine, to be honest. That's why I was saying machine specific. If I go for just an exercise, I'd probably say like crunches.
Just abs in general.
No, not abs. Like crunches. Like, you know, when people are going for like to build a six pack, I'd say like planks are probably better.
Definitely helped correct some people's abdominal separation with crunches.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Interesting. That's probably because I'm coming from like a strength perspective rather than a.
Sure.
Let's hear yours then, mate.
It's really, really hard, man. I'm trying to think of any exercise that doesn't have any kind of application inside of the gym. Okay, right, fine. Actually, I'm going to take a massive hit here. I believe that clean and jerks and snatches are a waste of time for most people.
He's right.
He is right. Yeah.
If you want my because I feel like I should back this up before I get loads of like shit from I have done clean and jerks and I have done snatches. Now, whether or not I've done them well or not, it doesn't matter. I've pretty much tried to figure out how you would implement those into someone's training plan. Let's say, for example, if you're trying to just train for overall health and wellness, I think the risk massively outweighs the reward because you can get the same stimulus from more controlled movements that would probably allow the person to enjoy it more anyway. Because there's a lot of technical work that has to be done to a clean and jerk, and we can all appreciate a really good clean and jerk in the Olympics.
Totally agree.
When you watch a beautiful clean and jerk, there is nothing better than watching a beautiful clean and jerk in the Olympics. Seeing someone stand up with like 250 kilograms above their head, wow, what a phenomenal feat. But they've been born and bred to do that one movement, that one time on that stage. Getting someone in their like mid-30s to come into the gym and their goal is health and wellness, teaching him something that extreme, it's just not going to give you that much benefit.
No, it gives you there's absolutely zero crossover.
It's because it just takes so long, like the technical side of it. It just takes too long.
And there's too much, like you're saying, risk of injury. Like the technique is just fucking. You could be weak, but have the technique and you can lift heavy weight, man. Because your body under load can take a lot of weight.
Yeah.
But your muscles you got to be strong to be an Olympic weightlifter, mind. But there's stronger people out there. Look at powerlifters,
or
strongmen.
Sure.
But definitely, I would never ever say to anybody like go to get in shape, do a clean and jerk.
Like,
you don't. You get in shit shape, really bad shape.
You absolutely.
Do.
I think that is my only thing. Is if you want to do Olympic lifting, then brilliant clean and jerks and snatches are for you. If you want to compete in CrossFit, then obviously they do them. Then you're going to have to. But I think most of my only pet peeve with CrossFit is I love watching the CrossFit Games. But when they have someone sign up and they go, I just want to get in shape, and you tell them the only way they can do it is with clean and jerks and snatches, I think that comes down to a little bit of malpractice, and hopefully they would stick with it long enough. But I think it's so complex, it's just going to make them hate it, or it's just, again, it comes down to the coaches as well, isn't it? It could be coached well, but
It's not. CrossFit is not coached. There's not many Olympic weightlifting based coaches in CrossFit because they don't like it, So fuck you, whatever his name is, Glassman. Is his name Greg?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right, he's become a billionaire, but fuck him.
Yeah. Hear that, Greg? Fuck you.
I think that's his name.
Yeah.
This is my last question.
All right.
And I actually want to say one more thing about overrated exercise that I can take back. Arnold press.
Oof.
Overrated.
I don't know, man.
No?
I think it's a really good exercise.
I think it's overrated.
I think it does build a lot of shoulder stability.
Yeah. So does a snatch.
Listen, Connor. Okay. I tell you what, it'd be a different story if I got you to hold a full squat and then do an Arnold press. Okay, I'm not asking you to do that. Oh my days!
It does though, mate.
Yeah.
My last question then, right? Who has helped you? Like, who can you say on your journey has been integral to getting you to where you are today? Support, inspiration, whatever it is, somebody or whoever.
So my girlfriend has been a massive help, man. Like, she is like my number one supporter, and I wouldn't be anywhere like today without her. Like, Maddie has been an absolute godsend, and mate, like, I could not ask for a better partner. Yeah, I'm not the easiest person to be around because I'm so like always on all the time, and sometimes that makes me not lovey-dovey, like I said earlier, and I'm so like wired in
not
that
present.
I'm sometimes like I come home and I'm still like on what I need to do, and I'll just sit down and get my laptop and I wouldn't even acknowledge that she's in there, and that's not right. And I'm openly tell her all the time, I'm like, I never mean it maliciously, I love you to bits, and you just got to snap me out of that state, just kind of be like, hello, you're right, sort of thing. And she always will, and she's always good, and she never takes offense to it. Sometimes we go for ups and downs where she's like, actually, I do feel like I need a little bit more love and affection, which is absolutely fine. And then we just work together really well, and I'll just, put some graft in and all that sort of stuff. So without her, I wouldn't have made the jump to be able to do what I'm doing today. My parents as well are amazing. Like, my mum is a grafter, dude. My mum and my dad, but my mum I've had a very close relationship with, grafts like an absolute beast. She works for Netcraft, which is like an internet fishing company. So they work for security for a lot of these big websites to defend against hacking.
Okay.
And she made her way up that business. They've just been bought out by an American equity firm. So she's very well off, and she's done amazing for herself with a background of basically nothing when she was young. And like all the members at my gym, mate, the members at my gym are awesome. And like normally people say that like, oh, you have this one guy like Joe Rogan or all these people, but genuinely the people that have been the biggest impact are the people that have been around me. Like, I don't think there have been multiple times where I thought like, I want to throw the towel in here, this is really hard. And then they've turned up and been like, hey, you're right, like, we're ready to go, let's do this, or you're doing so well, or whatever, and that's just encouraged me to kind of keep going. So yeah, all the people that I'm around are like.
Who's your
on a daily
favourite member?
basis.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Oh my god, that is one way to
destroy a
cause
business.
something- Yeah, 100%.
There are no favourites.
Yeah. But there is one thing, if I can give like anybody a bit of advice for like doing anything when it comes to like business, is there was a quote that I literally saw probably about, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago, and it was on a podcast like this with Tom Hanks, Shia LaBeouf, Jamie Foxx. There were lots of people around, and they were all sharing their life experiences about the industry they're in and how they've made it. And Tom Hanks said, "I wish I knew when I started, this too shall pass," which basically means that when stuff gets tough, all you have to do is just wait it out, because it will pass. You just have to slog it out and it will get better. But also, when you think you're on top of the world and everything's going really good for you and everything is just perfect, this too shall also pass. And it will go the other way eventually. And you've got to prepare yourself for that, because there's always been times for me where I've done really well, like super, super well, and then something blindsides you. And because you've been caught up in this, like, well, I couldn't possibly do bad anymore, I've done that. Like, it hits you so much harder.
Life has a way of humbling you,
100%. So just, if anybody out there is thinking about starting doing this or whatever it may be in your occupation, if any of you guys obviously want to go into being a VT, like, it will get tough, but that will pass. But also, it will get very good, and that will pass too. Yeah.
That's a fucking good, like, I think if you stick to that, you're going to do really well.
Thanks, man.
It's fucking, like, anybody, if they just get onto that, because, like you say, it's just about, sometimes it's time in the industry. Like, and if you can have the most time, you're probably going to be the best or somewhere near, you know?
Yeah. And you guys are going to do really well as well.
We'll try.
I will. You will. You got to persevere with this, though.
Yeah.
We need to meet back up in 10 years' time when
definitely.
you guys are like driving around your Lambos and I'm still sleeping on the floor in another gym somewhere in Bristol. And then we'll rewatch this whole video and then we'll have the same conversation.
I'd like to get you on, like, to speak more in depth about other topics, you know, with gym base, you know, it'd be really cool.
Yeah. I'm down for that. I'm 100% down for that. Yeah, it'll be amazing. Imagine like 10 years time, like literally, Connor's there like, I'm like into CrossFit. I fucking love clean and jerks. Like, remember that?
Inspired me.
Yeah.
Fuck Lewis.
Goes there,
got a t-shirt, fuck Lewis. With a guy snapped.
Joe's like sat here angry because he coached you at one point.
He's now
like,
into
what a waste of a time.
Fuck's sake.
Fucking hell, man.
Fuck's sake.
It's alright.
Do you want to, like, shout out your...
Sure. So you can follow me on Instagram. It's Lewis Davis Fit. You can follow our business page as well. It's Tribe Fitness Center, at Lewis Davis Fit or at Tribe Fitness Center. If you want to get in contact with coaching, then drop me a message and we'll have a chat. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for having me on, guys.
It was good. Thanks for coming on, bro.
It's alright.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.